Hey, everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with another two filmmakers reviewing one film, or in this case, it's reviewing one series or TV show or Netflix show or YouTube show or movie, then going into a series. What would you call it? Jonathan Moody, who's
Yes.
here, is my co-host on this. So we're
All right. So
ah,
I would say two filmmakers reviewing one season of a series.
but we could talk about everything.
We can talk about everything. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I think when you review a season, you have to talk about the past. You can't just
It,
talk about what is going on right then, unless it's the first season.
right. And how do you feel about having Terry Silver right behind you, holding like the world instead of your? It's like he's holding your head instead of
You
instead of the
see,
world.
I know
Yeah,
he was. Oh well, he has a world behind him, I
yeah.
guess.
He's holding this almost like he's the tall man holding the sphere.
He is the tall man. He's tall. He's a tall motherfucker. I'll tell you that.
He is. So,
You
but
like him.
so what do you? I like showing off my stuff. So what do you have? You said you had one thing. What would you like to show?
I have the first movie on 4K. All right.
And that's new, right?
That's not new. It's like a couple years or 3 years or no. I think I got it before I went to LA. So I mean, it's not new.
What's on it? Like what special features?
Uh, so the only like 4K special feature is an all new Remembering the Karate Kid, a reflective look back with stars Ralph Macchio, William Zabka, and Martin Cove. So I'm guessing.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the only new thing. Then the rest are like special features that were on the Blu-ray, originally, which was like commentary with director John G. Avildsen, writer Robert Mark Kamen, Ralph Macchio, Pat Morita commentary. So that was probably from the DVD, would be my
I think
guess.
that's what's on mine. So I'll check that.
And then The Way of Karate Kid, multi-part making a featurette, Beyond the Form featurette, East Meets West, a composer's notebook, and Life of Bonsai featurette. So just a bunch of featurettes and pop-ups and different stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised you sent me a YouTube link to deleted scenes from the first film, and I could swear that they were on, like the DVD of the Karate Kid,
I don't
and
think
they're
they were.
not. There's no deleted scenes at all, so that kind of sucks. But at least they look good,
Why they're on YouTube? Like who got them?
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
actually glad some of those did get chopped out. So
Yeah, the ones I showed you, I don't know if those are the only deleted scenes you can find, but one was like William Zapka, Johnny picking on Daniel some more and getting, and then there's one where Daniel fought back a little bit more, at the during lunch or whatever, and just some of the stuff just felt like, yeah, I bet when they were watching it, they were like, this is just taking too much time and we don't need this scene.
it wasn't very well acted, like Johnny, like Daniel going, "Hey man, why don't you like me? Why don't you just leave me alone?" And then Johnny coming up, and it really did feel like like an 80s comedy, where Johnny's the main villain. It just was so, I think all that stuff was cut. I think probably, yeah, for timing and bad acting.
Some
So,
bad acting. I think Johnny too. Like I love William Zabka, and I
oh yeah.
loved him in the movie, in the original Karate Kid, but I did not like those. His like, it just felt too forced and too unnatural. Like it felt like, oh, okay, I got to be the major bully. Like I'm gonna still pick on him some more, even. What I mean?
Well, we get the point. I
I
mean,
know.
how many times does he have to do that?
Well, I think it was at the point too. If I'm correct in the where it's supposed to be is where, like, because he was giving him the flyer to the or the sign up sheet for the tournament, right? And was like, pretty much, you have to go to this. And I was like thinking, yeah, you don't need that. You don't need him to give him the sign up sheet. Don't need to like show that they still don't like each other because we know that. sort of implied throughout. My favorite scene in the whole movie of that is where they're, where he knew that those kids couldn't pick on him because, he had to wait till the tournament, and everything. So there's like at one point he's trying to like fuck with them, and I like that. I thought that was
you mean Daniel?
Yes, Daniel was fucking with
see that goes back to that video. Is Daniel the villain? Because everybody's being cool except Daniel's being a dick.
But Daniel, like, okay, so have you ever been bullied? Be honest.
Yes, and then I pushed him down the stairs and he broke an arm, and then in freshman year my friends ganged up on a guy and literally threw him in a dumpster, and he never touched me again. So sophomore year, totally different guy. Summer built up, never touched again. Freshman year back, yeah, I was bullied, but I took my revenge from time to time.
Well, right. And so, was Daniel really the bully? He wasn't the bully in the beginning. He did nothing to deserve the way that he was treated. Was he the bully toward the end of the movie? Not really either, because he was just, like, look, if you've ever been bullied, you know that if you have the chance to get even, like you said, get revenge, you're gonna do it.
But I had no tournament. I had no, sensei saying, okay, don't mess with this guy until the tournament.
Miyagi never said that to him.
Well, he said, you'll leave boy alone until tournament. And they Kreese and him agreed that they can't touch Daniel. Daniel technically can't touch them.
Yeah, but Daniel can't. Didn't say. Daniel didn't say.
I think it's equally. They
never said it. They never said it though. So technically, if you wanted to do like lawyered, you want to get lawyered. Technically, he's like they agreed. He did not agree. It's okay. I don't want to, like, we could go on like for hours.
I think it's implied that both of them are supposed to leave each other alone. Just if you come towards it, just walk away. Not the one guy walk away and then the other guy be a dick.
That's true, but
I mean that's because that's we even see, and I don't think a lot of people get in the first Karate Kid, that before when Johnny is about to show up and Daniel's on the beach with what's her face, the future Allie, that she kicks the ball away, that she kicks it towards like the ocean because she sees them coming down from the hill, and she kicks the ball away to get Daniel away from them.
I don't know if that was the plan.
I think that was the plan, is that she knew that there'd be trouble. And then, Daniel comes back up, and of course he's a hothead.
She knew he was running after the ball and going to bring it back.
Right, but she was trying to get him away from, I think that she was trying to get him away, not permanently, but just for that, like, oh shit, then kick it over here. And then we'll get him away from that.
I don't know, the way that she acted, like when she left, when she like went like that, and she kind of walked away. She did not look like she was even noticing that they were coming down, like that was going to be even a thing. She even went and sat down and just relaxed. You know what I mean? Like if you watch that again, you can see them come down and bother her when she wasn't. I don't even think she was like thinking about them, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know.
I don't like. I can't say only the. Probably Daniel, like if we ever got to interview Ralph Macchio, he would be able to tell us, or probably not, maybe either him or Elizabeth Shue, they could literally tell us.
The director, but unfortunately he died. But
yeah, we can't talk about the director, or even the writer, maybe, because we could ask the writer what did he plan.
I would love to hear his audio commentary for part 3. That would be such a joy, hearing him just, I would think, destroy the movie. So,
okay. What was because did he write something and
he hates the film. He wrote the script, but then they changed it. And Ralph Macchio doesn't like the script, as he's been pretty open about that. If you watch part
3, it's one of my
part 3. And Daniel is a dummy. He's totally stupid. It's almost like something happened between the flight back from part 2 and part 3 where he got hit in the head. And that's because they had a Rocky film come out and they wanted him to be more like Rocky Balboa. So he's more like, duh, and he's really stupid. He's very kind of John Travolta, Vinnie Barbarino from, like Welcome Back Carter. He's very dumb. It's almost like he didn't learn anything from the first 2 films and they just made him a dummy. And both of them have brought that up, that he's just dumb. And and so I would love to hear audio commentary from him. And
what I wish they would do for part 6, season 6, if they make, I mean, I'm sure they're making, or they've already started working on season 6. But what I would love, at least at some point, that Milo I can't say his last name, but Milo V, the guy who played Rocky's son in Rocky Balboa, right? Because unfortunately, Sage Stallone, which was Sylvester Stallone's son, passed away. He was the guy who played Rocky's son in part 5. You're talking about the
guy from like Heroes and
I think so. I don't know in Heroes, but I know him from Gilmore Girls, so whatever.
I know him from the superhero series Heroes. You know him from a chick flick or a chick series.
Chick show. So he was I think he was in Gilmore Girls. I think so. But anyway, he was the son and Rocky Balboa. I'd love to see him as the son.
Rocky 5 and Balboa, I believe.
Rocky's son in the Cobra Kai series. So making it, we don't need Sylvester because that's just too on the nose, you know what I mean? But it would be so cool if we had like the universe collides in some way, because it's, that would be the biggest love and biggest thing for the, for the Cobra Kai. You know what I mean? Like
I hate to tell you this, it will never happen.
That will never happen. But
because remember, Stallone right now is in a huge fight with the producer that owns the rights because they want to make a Drago series. And Stallone wanted to make Creed 3.
Creed 3?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd be up for it because I like trilogies. So I really liked Creed 2. I actually liked it better than Creed.
I never saw Creed 2. Not because I didn't want to, I just haven't. Like
I love Rocky 4. I mean, it's not good, but it's so good. It's it's so bad it's good type of thing. But I mean, they've slightly tried that with Staying Alive, the sequel, to Saturday Night Fever. Stallone directed Staying Alive. So at one point, Travolta, as his character is walking down the street and he walks past a guy who looks a lot like Rocky, and they turn and they look at one another for a second, and then they turn back and they go their own way. So it's like, is that just a Stallone cameo, or was it actually that Rocky is in the same universe as Staying Alive?
I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do that, like tried to make, like, oh, we're going to bring Rocky into this. There's a guy who does like the transmedia. His name's Houston Howard, who talks about transmedia stuff. And I've told you about transmedia, right? Like that. Basically, that's more than connecting all these different medias together. To make what is it? Whatever, a whole universe, So you connect. So you do a TV show and a movie and a short films, TikToks. All these things, but they're different stories. They're not like the same story. You're not having Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the video game, the movie, the book. You know what I mean? They're not adaptations of the same thing. They're different. That's multimedia, right? But transmedia is when they're different, but they're like, if you did a Rocky book and it was a different story, then, it explained what happened between 2 and 3, and Star Wars does a lot of this stuff. Like they're
no, I used to have a Terminator book that took place
Right.
between, a couple of the movies that explained, I think, right before Salvation came out. So it was, what happened from 3 to Salvation, and the book was right in the middle. So
the guy Houston Howard talked about how you could still do, a connecting universe with like Rocky, but like have it Philadelphia is all connected, So like the Mark Wahlberg from that Philadelphia Invincible movie that Disney did, because that was about the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe, and then there's all these different movies and stuff, and you have them all connect, right? Like stuff like that. You could have it be like that. And so I'm always interested to see, like, because Rocky and Cobra, Karate Kid are basically, similar. The fact that the same director worked on it, same music composer.
the Karate Kid originally was known as Rocky with Karate.
Right. So my idea is just like these two things could be connected. These universes can be connected, and if you did connect them, that would be awesome. But chance of that, like you said, the chance of that happening, no.
Yeah, I mean, you would just have to figure out how to combine boxing with karate.
I mean, I watched a movie that had that. So yeah, I just watched a movie that we did for Indie Film Cafe that had judo and wrestling. So I mean, fighting each other.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you kind of want to make it like a goofy canon type thing, like Gymkata, I mean, you can. But if you want to set it more in a realistic world, you would have to have a reason for, like, why is Carrie Underwood at the karate championship? It's so meaningless unless she needs money. Yeah. Why is she singing in it? Because the producer, could get Carrie Underwood. So right. they had her sing, but it makes absolutely no sense for her to be there. So,
I would guess she's a fan of the show, and she reached out to them, and they're like, yeah, we could use you.
I mean, it's possible. It doesn't make any sense, but yeah, I mean, it's possible that's because it really doesn't make sense for her to be there, but it's fine. It's whatever.
That's the only reason why I think that it happened was she was a fan of the show, and they're like, we'll figure out some place to put you, because they couldn't put her as like, she's not going to be, she could have been Tori's mom if she wanted to act,
I can live without that. So I can live without that. Right.
Yeah. I'm just saying they're both blonde, so it works,
Yeah. Well, before we get too deep into this, I want to show my stuff. So
your stuff.
My collection. Well, actually, I have a story. So I worked at a movie theater called the Tamalpais, which was with Cliff of Scream Factory. And he was my manager, and I was an usher at the time. Later on, I became his assistant. And we would play all these movies that they considered to be bad. Nightmare on Elm Street, we played. The Karate Kid, all the Charles Band stuff with Empire. We played all that stuff. So we opened the Karate Kid to like 2 people. And the same thing happened with Nightmare on Elm Street. And then the next week it was 5 people. Then the next week it was 20 people. Then it was 50 people. Then it was sold out. So literally was one of those kind of underdog films that through word of mouth, people saw it. Otherwise, nobody cared.
Title, man. It's the title, like The Karate Kid. That sounds so terrible. And I think even I've seen interviews where Ralph Macchio had said he hated the title when he read it, and he was like, I don't even know if, like, he didn't even know if he wanted to do it, kind of thing, because such a terrible title.
Yeah, and I became a fan. So I of course, because I worked it, I saw it a few times at the theater. Went to go see part 2. I think I saw that twice in the theater. Didn't even know until video that part 3 was made, and absolutely had no idea that the next Karate Kid was made. I mean, I probably saw maybe trailers on TV for him or something, but it was like, oh, okay. But it wasn't until, you walked into Blockbuster and it was like, oh shit, this is out. And had, so I think I saw trailers for them, and that was about it. But I still like the first 2. It wasn't until later on that I became a big fan of them. And even got to see Ralph Macchio live on stage for how to succeed in business without really trying, the musical. Saw him live during that, which was fun. And but my collection is, so I have the Karate Kid collection on DVD. So it has all four.
I have them in the studio somewhere.
Yeah, I think this is actually a great collection, and they're thin.
Yep.
So they fit nice. And so we got the first one, and this is a special edition. So it has all the same stuff that you have.
Right.
And then part 2 is on its own, and it has special features, interactive DVD-ROM game. Never played it.
I would play that. God, I need to go grab my copy.
The sequel featurette, and then the third disc. No commentary, surprisingly, because a lot of people think part 2 is better than part 1.
I don't, but you know,
neither do I. But there is that.
Actually, you know, it's going to sound terrible. Other than the Karate Kid, the Will Smith one, which we don't talk about, you know, the Jaden Smith one, you know.
That's not in my collection. It will never be in my collection. I have the soundtrack.
It's Kung Fu Kid, which is fine. If they called it the Kung Fu Kid, I would have been completely cool with that. You know, but but
the producer wanted the title.
Yeah.
Because anyway, the Kung Fu Kid or the Chinese Kid is not going to sell a movie, but Karate Kid will.
So anyway, the part 2 is my least favorite of the 4. You know
what?
Yeah. So it goes. My first favorite is number 1. My second favorite is 3. My number 3 is 4. You know, I like the next Karate Kid more than, you know, and then part 2 is last. I just, once again, you love it. You love when you take something and put them somewhere where they don't usually belong.
Right.
And so part 2 is perfect for you because it's going to Okinawa and everything like that. But I remember watching that movie going, I am so fucking bored. I am bored to death. I'm like, the only part I like in that movie is the fights between Chosen and it. That's it. Or
the only thing I don't like at part 2 is honk honk. I don't like that.
I actually like that part because that was actually from part 1.
Well, the beginning of part 2 is the ending of part 1.
Right. But they actually shot that that's a deleted scene that they put into part 2 because they're like, well, we got this footage with, you know, Johnny and them. That's why they're only in it for like 2 seconds, you know, and then they go to the rest of the story and it doesn't involve you know, Kreese and them. But anyway, point is, I just was so bored and I hated the love stuff. Like, I'm like, does he have to get a new girlfriend every single time?
Yes, because he's the Karate Kid, Jonathan.
Except for the third one where apparently he was not allowed to date.
Well, okay, so here's part 3 and 4, which I find funny, are on their own disc. So
that's right.
They didn't even give it the courtesy of 2 DVDs. It's a flip disc. So side A and side B. And this, nothing at all. No special features on this thing.
So I'd rewatched The Next Karate Kid like a bunch of years ago, right? Because I had it, I was in my room, I had it. I was like, I gotta, you know, I haven't seen this movie in forever. And a guy I knew of, Tom Downey, was in it. So I wanted to see him in the movie, you know, and he actually did a really good job. But the movie was fun. It was a lot more fun than I remembered it being, you know, because I think when I first watched it, I hated it because it was not Ralph Macchio, and it was nothing against Hilary Swank. She's a fantastic actress, and she did a great job in the movie. But I think I really just like was soured in the fact, like, why are we not gonna part 4? You know, why are we getting a new Karate Kid?
Because Macchio didn't want to do it.
Yeah, but I didn't know that.
He was only contracted for 2 films, and he agreed to do the third. and then he didn't want to do a fourth. So it's funny. So on the back of this, it does show all the special features for the first one that you had mentioned. It says here for part 2, doesn't even say it on these. It does say featuring the Oscar nominated song Glory of Love by Peter Cetera.
I do love that song. You know, you ever heard that song, Glory of Love?
Oh yeah. It was everywhere when part 2 came
Yeah.
out. And then for 3 and 4, the special features are 2 complete movies on 1 disc.
Yeah, that's a special feature.
But if I had to give my ranking of these, I would say 1, 2, 4, then 3. And 3 just annoys me because Daniel is so fucking stupid. And 4, the only thing that annoys me in this is the eagle that she has, or whatever the bird is that she has in it that has cooped up on the roof. That annoys me. It's just like, why do we need this? This isn't symbolizing anything, at least in my mind. Like, she's not the eagle or something, you know. Was she trapped and now she's free, you know, because she lets the eagle go at the end? So that stuff, I guess it brings her and the guy together on this, and it gives something for the police.
I don't remember enough that I can, you know, give my opinion. You know,
but the villains are great in Karate Kid 3. This is definitely a canon movie. I mean, Karate Kid 3 is a total canon film. I mean, Terry Silver is a great canon villain, even though it's not canon. And I don't mean canon as in like canon to the movies. I mean the film company canon, Globus. Yeah, that, you know, Chuck Norris and all them.
Cyborg.
And of course, yeah, Cyborg and Invasion USA, Delta Force, those guys.
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain, yeah. And
I'm saying all the nobody wants to talk about.
Hey, I own it. So
Ninja 3, The Domination.
I actually got the director's cut from Albert Pyun himself. So he gave it to me. Yeah, it's like a bootleg or something.
Nice. I like I like Albert. Yeah.
Whole different video on him, but Karate Kid 2 does have Chosen, so you gotta love Chosen.
Oh, I like Chosen. I like the villain stuff. Yeah, I just didn't like the love stuff, and I don't know if I haven't seen it in so long because it had such a sour taste in my mouth when I watched it that I think I might need to rewatch it and maybe I'll feel differently. I do like that part 2. You ever play the Nintendo video game of Karate Kid?
No, I've not. I don't really play games, so no.
Okay, so Karate Kid, the video game on Nintendo Entertainment System is actually should say Karate Kid 2. You know, because it is literally Karate Kid 2. It shows Okinawa stuff. It's him doing the like where he has to like watch out for the thing, like trying to like hit him or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And the ice blocking chop stuff. All that stuff is from part 2, and the only like difference is like you can actually chop flies or whatever. Like you can catch them with your chopsticks and stuff. It's kind of cool. Like it's a fun little video game. But
they've had a new one come out, haven't they? Like a new Nintendo game. Cobra Kai. I think it's not Karate Kid, but it's a Cobra Kai game.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't play any games anymore. I used to play Nintendo all the time. I probably still have a Nintendo somewhere, you know, in all the games. But
yeah, I have the soundtrack for the new game, but I've never played it. Like I have the soundtracks for all of them. I have like 2 to 3 different versions of every single soundtrack, and I listen to those whenever Cobra Kai comes out. Yeah. So, cool. But speaking of Cobra Kai, so then we have Cobra Kai seasons 1 and 2 collector's edition. So this is it's still Sony, but it's still when YouTube had the show, and in it you get Daniel's. I don't know what do you ever call these? The head. Yeah. So cool. You get that. So that's, which I've never taken out. To me, it's like a collector's item. So,
I mean, really? Once you've opened it, it's not really a collector's item, is it?
I haven't opened it. Just sits in the back. It just sits right in there. Okay. I've not touched it. And this, you get a bunch of stuff on it. So it's like exclusive.
You opened your DVDs?
Oh, the movies I've opened, yeah, but I haven't opened this thing. This is still in its package.
Oh, well, I'm saying it. Yeah, I guess one day you could sell that shit on eBay or something if you wanted to.
Yeah,
No.
And I'm not going to get into it because there's a lot of special features on this. So they went all out on this one here.
Good. I'll have to check it out at some point.
Yeah, it's not bad. And then I didn't even know it at the time, but season 3 came out.
Nice.
So, and that has deleted scenes and blooper reel. That's it. So I guess all of these equal seasons 1 and 2. So there'd be double the amount, but this only has the 2.
So I was talking to my buddy Joe Turk today because we were doing Predator for Hollywood Boulevard podcast and stuff. And afterwards I chatted and said we're doing this. And we had a discussion. And I ended up saying, like, because I had heard that part 1 and 2 of Cobra Kai was produced and put on YouTube Red or whatever. Right. YouTube. I forgot what it was called originally, but it was like YouTube TV or something, you know. And then or maybe it was Red. Maybe it was Red.
No, it was YouTube Red, and it was adult. That was the whole idea of being Red, is that you paid for it and it was more adult stuff. And then once it went, they sold it. It like went bankrupt or something. Like they didn't make any money off of it. It turned into YouTube TV. So that's what it is now.
Okay, there you go. So exact opposite of what I just said. But anyway, so YouTube Red, and then because I think you could like subscribe for free at some point or something, like do a free trial. And so I did a free trial and watched all of that, just binge watched all of Cobra Kai season 1 and 2. But part 3, I think, was when they put it on Netflix, if I'm correct, right?
Well, the order that it went is YouTube Red did seasons 1 and 2, but they produced and made season 3. And then that was obviously not aired on YouTube. Netflix purchased it and aired it. So Netflix technically has only made seasons 4 and 5.
Exactly. So they've only made 4 and 5 themselves. Like they put up the money for it,
right,
and produced it. But but the part 3 was still YouTube Red. So then part 4 and 5, and so if they do a 6, you know, that's awesome. I really hope so.
Well, then
it hasn't been officially announced, I don't think.
No, it hasn't been, and I'll get into that too. So then season 4 just came out. So the week after season 5 premiered, this came out like that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that kind of sucks. Why wouldn't you bring this out before? And I thought, because Netflix wants you to binge seasons 1 through 3 on their, on Netflix, so they can make money. And then you go buy this, and then you watch season 5 type of thing. Or they want you to binge 1 through 4, and then you could buy this like the following week and then see, because you've already watched season 5. So I thought, okay, that's smart, because then people have to get Netflix to watch 1 through 4 to watch 5. Otherwise they just go out and buy this, which they may not make as much money off of because this is Sony.
Exactly. I agree.
And the thing with, so this is what I just saw this, because I'd like to bring up something, but it says here, and this is going to anger me, Untitled Karate Kid film 2024. Not The Karate Kid, but just Karate Kid film. In September 2022, a new feature film described as the return of the original Karate Kid franchise was confirmed to be in development. Cobra Kai co-creator John Hirschwitz stated the film was not connected to the television series. The film is scheduled to be released on June 7th, 2024.
So wait. So it's gonna bring back Ralph Macchio or something, right? Like maybe, hopefully, right?
Well, it's just saying the original Karate Kid. It could just be a straightforward remake with a whole new cast.
It's confusing.
The film is described as the return of the original Karate Kid franchise.
That sounds to me like it's the original.
Or are they doing part 5?
That would be cool.
Like it would be connected, like it would come after.
Maybe that's why they haven't brought
Next.
Hilary Swank. Maybe that's why they haven't brought Hilary Swank in there, because maybe she's costing too much, you know?
Well, and that's the thing is you saw how mad I was because I sent you a message when I was seeing all these videos saying season 6 canceled and oh, they're going to be doing a trilogy and they're going to be doing all of this. It's going to make me really mad if I like trilogies. I like 3s. So we need to have season 6 to wrap up this. I don't want season 5 and then a movie. I want season 6. They teased it. Finish season 6 correctly. Have them do the world championship. Silver's now going to prison. Kreese is out of jail. Have him come back to control Cobra Kai. Have them do the world championship thing. End it. Just end it.
Have Snake and the other guy, whatever, the big guy or whatever, the Dennis, Snake and Dennis, go and break out Silver. They're bad, and then have Mike Barnes have to fight them.
Okay, Mike Barnes. I
know we've talked about this.
Well, and we're going to discuss it.
I already know your
yeah.
opinion.
So Jonathan and I have talked about a lot of this stuff on the phone. So, which is why I wanted to do this video also. So, I have a feeling, and I told you this while I was watching season 5, is I think season 5 was going to end it. I think that was the end of it because the stuff with Mike Barnes seems rushed. And I'm very disappointed in the Barnes stuff. I love when Daniel goes, Mike fucking Barnes, and it cuts to the foot coming down, kind of like the Terminator in Terminator 2 walking down the stairs. And I like that. And I like that they go to this warehouse and he's thinking like, hey, look, he's doing, evil things. And I like this whole thing that it's this kind of misdirection with the two main characters. And then Chosen thinks they're fighting and then he joins. I love all of that. I thought all of that was great. And then, and I like that Mike Barnes was actually on Daniel's side, that he got screwed over. And I like all that. I thought they did a good job with that. And then we have his company, the store, burned down with some of the worst CGI that I've ever seen in a movie or in a TV show. It looked bad. Like they said, okay, Mike, that was going to be your scene, but now we want you to come back. And we only need you. And we just need for you to react to fire because your place is burning down. Okay, fine, great. Because then we get that weird line from Daniel who out of like, oh, well, Mike left town. He's not here anymore. And I thought, that's weird. That's such an awkward, clunky reason to not have him on the show anymore. And then he ends up later on driving the limousine that's wrecking all of them at the end.
That stuff didn't make any sense because I'm like, how did he know that guy was going to go to the bathroom? How did he sneak in? What, you know what I mean? Like, why did he sneak in? Like,
because they're trying to plop him in anywhere they can because they probably weren't going to use him again. And they're like, well, shit, well, now where can we put him? Oh, well, he'll drive the limo. He'll mess up, Chosen, Johnny, and Daniel.
Yeah, then they'll go out and fight, Silver and everything like that.
They'll do a little bit of, they'll do like a little bit of a fight type thing with the limo. And then they'll drop Daniel off. And I thought it was awesome seeing the 3 villains from 1, 2, and 3 walking together up to Silver's place. I thought was great. To me, that was like,
thought about that. Yeah, that's amazing.
It was like Ben Kenobi beating Vader, in Phantom Menace, for the first time. You're like, oh, this is awesome. And so I love that. Chosen looks like he's killed, which I think he was. And they decided to bring him back at the last second.
Are you talking about Darth Maul?
Darth Maul?
What? You said in Phantom Menace.
Yeah, where Obi-Wan meets where he meets Anakin.
where he meets Anakin for the first time. Okay.
Yeah, Anakin, Darth
Darth
Vader, they're the same
until
thing.
the third one.
Yeah, I mean they're the same thing. And
confused me for a second.
they're all whiny bitches. And then I think Silver killed Chosen. That's a lot of blood in that water. And then when and then there's Johnny with Mike, and Mike gets conked on the head like he's one of the Three Stooges by a frying pan, and he's knocked out for the whole thing. Like, what the fuck? So they probably, once again, said, okay, where can we fit him in? It was originally Chosen and Johnny. We'll fit him in with these guys.
He came in and saved Daniel, because I had a feeling that was going to happen, because in my mind I was like, where's Mike? Why hasn't he woken up yet?
I was yelling at the screen, where's Mike? I was doing that. And he's just on the floor. And I thought, does the actor not know how to do kung fu anymore, or karate? I mean, why does he not?
Drunk.
Huh?
He was drunk.
But does the actor not know martial arts? So they're thinking of, okay, we can put him in, but then we'll have him get knocked out so he doesn't use any sort of martial arts. Because why would you leave him out? Why isn't he fighting with Johnny?
He wasn't the Karate Kid. Like, that was my take on it, is that Mike isn't supposed to save everybody. Really.
No, he doesn't save everybody. He just fights beside Johnny. Once again, how great would it be to see the villain from part 1 and part 3 on the same side fighting Silver's guys? I think that would have been awesome, because it's the exact opposite of part 3 with that character. But instead, he's on the floor knocked out, only then to save Johnny at the end.
Martial arts that much, because he hadn't done martial arts in forever, since his character left and became like a furniture store.
We were never privy to that information, so I can only go off of what I'm seeing. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe the actor doesn't know martial arts, and they were only going to have him for that one day of shooting.
It would have been cool if they put in a line where, Mike's fighting, or whatever, and then he gets like, punched really hard, and Johnny's like, do you even know karate? Or something. He's like,
well, yeah, if the actor didn't, then that would have been funny. But he takes on Chosen pretty well, and Chosen is technically better than Daniel, so
Chosen's better than most of. I think Chosen technically could have taken on Silver better, or whatever, like, because I mean, Daniel took on Silver at the end, like Chosen could have whooped Silver's ass for real.
Well, that was Daniel's revenge, I guess, for really for part 3. And but I don't know. That's the stuff I didn't like, because as you and I were talking, and I'm blanking on her name, but the actress from part 3 that played the friend, not the girlfriend, but the friend.
Oh yeah, the friend, yeah, because they couldn't have her be a girlfriend. Robin Lively's character, Jessica.
Yeah, and in real life, it's because Ralph Macchio was married. The wife didn't want him to do it, so he didn't do it. So she's just a friend.
I don't know why it's changed now. I mean, I guess his wife is
probably at that time
the same woman he's been married to since then. So
I don't maturity, maybe, just like, yeah, that was kind of dumb. But I thought that it fit in very well with Robin Lively coming in, and I thought it felt natural. It felt like, okay, so, the wife is going back home. She's there. Oh, I introduced you to, because we were just friends. And that whole thing to me fit well. And I mentioned to you, why is this character or actress getting like a theme? Like, she walks through the door and there's a theme. And there's like, oh shit, she's the girl from part 3. And
I didn't notice until in the bar and they start talking about the stuff. Then it just hit me. I'm like, because I was like, I thought literally I thought Robin Lively, I didn't even recognize her.
They're totally different.
And I was like, who is this random chick? But then I was like, maybe she's just a friend. She introduced Daniel. You know what I mean? Like, Like, this is just a person who she really, like, nothing to do connected at all to the Karate Kid.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they're just friends. They're hanging out together, and later on in life, she's like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to somebody who I think you might like," and it ends up becoming, she ends up becoming his wife. To me,
mhm.
that fit fine. Even in the previous Cobra Kai's, when they've brought in other characters, like the two girls from Okinawa, I thought it worked fine. I mean, you could question like, "Oh, they just happened to be right there." I mean, that's convenient. But to me, it worked, and it was awesome that it was the same actress that was the little girl that was stuck up in the tree. And it's like, God, these guys are dedicated.
Yeah.
The creators of this show are that they could have had any actress play her, but they didn't. They got the same little girl who's now all grown up, and so I love that. I just find the Mike Barnes stuff to be very,
Well, I mean,
very
because
disappointing.
maybe you're right. Maybe they were planning this to possibly be the last season and stuff. And so, like, because of the deal with Sony creating another show, right? Like, or another movie, they might have been like, well, if because Sony is at the stage right now where they're doing everything they can to keep their franchises, right? And that idea of like, if you have, and I don't know how it works with television shows, but in movies, if you have a time elapse or something, contracts wise, your movie will franchise will go away, and somebody else can snag it, right? Children of the Corn, Miramax had to like have like one every couple years or
I think it was,
whatever.
yeah, one every 10 years or they would lose it. And then
Or
Stephen
they would
King
lose it.
wrote, yeah, then Stephen King bought the rights back, and I guess that ended that.
Well, no, he brought the rights back because because there's that stupid law now that says that and I think this is a stupid law. I think this is dumb. And maybe writers will be angry at me for saying this, but there's a law that goes and says that 35 years after a movie is done, the rights revert back to the screenwriter, the original screenwriter. So the original writer or whatever. So Stephen King has been snagging up all the movie rights to all his movies once they become 35 years, because he's been upset at basically almost every movie.
And he hates Children of the Corn. He
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that.
He
But
wants, he
isn't there
wants,
one coming out? Isn't there one that's just kind of in limbo right now?
I don't
I
know.
believe there is. It's just sitting in limbo, kind of like how Runaway was for a while. But he had talked about off and on about the Children of the Corn rights. The one that was made for Sci-Fi Channel is actually based off of his rejected screenplay for the first film. And
Well,
when the filmmakers wanted to, when they made that, they asked Stephen King if he'd like to be one of the producers and would you like to have some say? And he's like, no, I want nothing to do with the series, even though it's his script.
Well, I didn't know. Okay, so what is it? So I don't know what they have to do for Sony. Like Sony has to do for Karate Kid. Do they have to every 10 years make sure that they do another Karate Kid movie, or they're going to get the time elapsed on it? I don't know about that, because if you look at Ghostbusters, it's been way longer before they did the Lady Ghostbusters
Yeah,
movie.
that's why I'm not too. I would have to look that up. I'm not too sure about that, because so the next Karate Kid was 94.
Right. But then they did the remake in 2006.
Actually 2010.
2010. Oh, so it'd be more than 10 years that they do the next one. So maybe there's a certain
And it is called, they're doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff. It's Karate Kid, not the Karate Kid.
Karate Kid. Well, I mean, everyone calls it Karate Kid. Nobody ever calls it the Karate Kid. Maybe they're getting rid of the because it's not really needed.
I think it's just to make it a little bit different, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's just their way of doing it differently. I mean, I'm so pissed off about all this stuff that if we don't get a season 6, I'm going to cancel Netflix. I will get a VPN, and as they say, I will sail the seas and get my copies that way. I will, I will sail the seas with pirates, and I will just watch everything that way. So I only have Netflix for Cobra Kai. Then I watch the occasional thing that comes out. But if they don't end this properly, and season 6 does not happen, and it doesn't get confirmed, and they don't sit there and just say, this is the final season, we're going to wrap everything up nice and neat, we're going to have that world championship, and then that's it. You can still have some loose things open if they want to bring it into the movies. That's fine. But just wrap it up. Don't leave it like this. Because even the stuff with Kreese, and you even commented on this too, that was not realistic. And to me, that's another thing of, was this going to be the end? And was Kreese going to be left in like prison? Because we talked about this with the woman's, with like the therapist ID that he steals, that if she couldn't find it, probably like once she was like, oh crap, I have no idea where this is, maybe somebody took it, they would have canceled that and given her another one. And they probably would have thrown the prison or jail, whatever he's in. There is a difference. Jail and prison are two different things. But whatever he's in, whatever Kreese is in, they would have tossed it, most likely.
What did he do with the end? He beat the crap out of that guy? Should be in jail, not prison. Right?
Yeah, probably just jail. So, and
it's weird because they made it look like prison, and they also made it look like, because are there jail therapy sessions like that? Like I don't find that.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like
you
feels
can.
like less, you're in less time than prison, right?
It matters. Now, I have been in jail, so I know a tiny bit, but you can. It matters what, I guess, what the crime is, and if you need one, just like there's there's a infirmary, a doctor's area in there.
Doctor's area.
Yeah, and there's all that. So I don't mind him talking, because we get some more character stuff. But yeah, I don't think that it would be that he would be able to just knock some people out, steal like a uniform or whatever he did, put the thing up on the door, and then just walk out. It annoyed me as much as 3 from Hell when Rob Zombie's wife escapes from prison, and she's known all around the friggin' world, and they just let her walk right out of the prison with bare, dirty feet and acting crazy, and she gets out fine. And the thing is, it just goes from, okay, put on this guard's costume, cut to her getting into the car. They don't show any interaction between Sherry Moon Zombie's character and her, in the prison to get out. Because Rob Zombie knew there's no way that she'd be able to get out of that prison. There's no way. And so he just skipped it. He's like, yeah, we just won't film it. And I kind of felt the same way with Kreese, even though they did show it. One, why wouldn't they know it's jelly? Jelly and blood look different.
I don't know. But to go back to your 3 from Hell, I'm really more like, I have it on Blu-ray because it costs like $5 at Walmart, So I was like, I've got House of 1,000 Corpses and Devil's Rejects. I should get the third, and it's a trilogy. You should get the third one. Have no interest in really watching it, but I might, one day. The thing is, like, the ending to Devil's Rejects is so perfect. Like, I thought they died, and I thought, like, that was they were they were like, we're going to hell, baby, right? Like, we're going home, like that to me was like perfect. Then they go, oh, we need to make...
and the song, the Leonard Skinner song, Freebird, and basically that them getting shot lasts the length of that song, which is like 7 minutes.
Right. So what would have been cool is if they escaped from hell, and came back, like Drive Angry, like they came back from, came from hell.
Well, then it becomes more
Supernatural.
Yeah, which Rob Zombie said he wanted to avoid for Devil's Rejects, which is why Dr. Death is not in it.
But it makes more sense for that than Devil's Rejects.
I mean, I get why he made it. He pulled the Stallone, to bring up Stallone again, is that Stallone would basically make Rocky, Rambo. Both would be hits. And then he would make 2 movies that would bomb. And they'd be like, shit, I need to make another Rocky. That'd do really well. Okay, now I'll make another Rambo. That will do well. Then it makes 2 shitty movies. Crap, now I got to make another Rocky and another Rambo. So
are you saying Daylight's a shitty movie?
So anyways, it's Daylight's okay. It's all right. And then, but Rob Zombie, I think, did the same thing. I think that he's had now, I think that he's hit, all filmmakers kind of go up and then they plateau with like their best movie. And then it's kind of downhill from there.
Right.
And I think Rob hit it with The Devil's Rejects. Like, he's never going to do better than Devil's Rejects. It's a classic. It's a great movie. And the films after that bombed. He keeps making less and less money. He keeps getting less and less money. And he keeps making movies that he wants to see, not the audience. So then he says, well, shit, I'll just make 3 from Hell. And he did, because he knew that people would watch it. Because nobody was watching 31.
I hate to say it, I enjoyed 31 way more than like Lords of Salem. Like I hated that, but I liked the idea that like there's just a bunch of these fucking people going around killing people. Like it felt more fun to me. But anyway, that has nothing to do with Cobra Kai, I guess. But we go on our little tangents. Stay on topic.
Stay on topic. You
haven't done that in a while because you haven't done our show for a while. So
I was watching something on YouTube where a couple guys were talking, and they just went off on a few times on stuff that had nothing to do with the topic. So, and then one guy would go, look, we should probably go back to what we were talking about. So, they could be talking about submarines and all of a sudden Halloween is brought up. And then it's like, wait, we're talking about submarines here, not movies.
Yeah, I had to do that last night where we were reviewing a movie and we wanted to talk about other shit that had nothing to do with the movie. And I was like, let's bring it back to the movie. let's get back to that thing that we were discussing. Everybody's like, really? We gotta talk about that?
So okay, so I'll bring it back to Cobra Kai. So the one thing that I was really happy about, and I brought this up to you, is I thought for season 4, the cliffhanger with Miguel going, I'm gonna go find my dad, even though he's how fucking dare you ingrate. You have Johnny, who's like your father mentor guy now. You got a hot loving mom, the funny grandma. You're not living in poverty, and it's like, I need to go find my dad. But I thought it was a good cliffhanger. And then I'm guessing the writers, when season 5 came around, said, oh shit, we painted ourselves into a corner. How do we get out of this? Because nobody cares about Miguel's dad. Nobody.
Unless he was like a cool character that came up and became like a villain for the series, like that would have been fun.
Yeah, if all of a sudden this guy from Mexico, all of a sudden, was now you're going to fight my guys. And it's like all these like Hispanic kids, like none of them speak English or anything, and they're kicking ass. I mean, that would be kind of funny.
That would have been cool. Or he could have came to America. Because he found, like, say Miguel had like dropped his like license or something, or whatever, and he found it, and was like, Miguel, oh, and he lives here. Oh, this is where, you know what I mean? Like he puts 2 and 2 together and he goes to the United States because they set up so much stuff about how evil this guy was, this dad was. Like the mom was saying, stay away from him, all this stuff. And then they just kind of like do nothing with it.
Yeah. I mean, I like the stuff with Johnny and his kid going down. I like their interactions. I like them.
And,
I like them, kicking the ass of like the surfer guys. I thought was funny.
Also, the where they wear the FBI shirts, you know, or whatever, and it's like, was it female body inspection or what?
Which I didn't exactly like, because one, all you got to do is look at their back and it tells you what it is. So they like do the guys who are reporting to the dad not have any sort of vision, you know, no peripheral vision? Because
no, as too, but like I still like the shirts, and
I like the shirts, but you know, my problem with it is that it is something that Johnny would have, is even though those shirts have been around for a while, Johnny Depp kind of made them famous in Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Is that his character, who's in Mexico, is wearing those types of shirts, and that's one of the shirts.
A lot of Rodriguez shit in this movie, this show. I thought Rodriguez directed the episode because there was that song from Desperado while they were fighting the surfer guys. They did that. They did a bunch of Desperado like homages and stuff, and I was like,
well, maybe the shirts are in tribute to him then.
I don't know. I am wondering if the guys who created are fans of Rodriguez, or because they were in Mexico, they wanted to give tribute to their favorite Mexican director. I don't know, you know. Or
I mean,
whatever.
I mean, it's a possibility. I'm just glad that they got rid of the father thing an episode and a half in. And Miguel is such a fucking little bitch. I mean, here he is standing in the road, mom, mom. You know, it's like, oh, come on, dude. You freaking kick ass. You know karate. I mean, it's like, come on, really?
But he's like the emotional, like,
he's worse than Sam.
He's the ones that all like the little girls can identify with, you know. I want to marry, you know. I want this.
He'd be invited to their slumber parties because he wouldn't make a move on them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because like Sam, even at one point, is just like, you know, talking to him and saying, "Oh, we're gonna, you know, I think we need a break or whatever," and he doesn't say like, "No," like. Like he thought that, like he wanted that, but he should have said, "No, I don't want to break." Like, what the fuck, you know?
His back was broken, and he didn't cry like he does in this one. I mean, it's and the chances of Johnny finding him are like 1,000,000,000 to 1. I mean, it's like, but I guess that's just a way of getting him out of there. It reminded me of Wonder Woman 1984, where Wonder Woman and her boyfriend see the guy on the other side of the road driving by him, and she goes, "Oh, that's him. That's him." It's like, do you know how big that country is for you to just happen to drive past him?
And the guy was driving at the same time. Oh my God, that's his car.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell? And this kind of reminded me of that. Is wow, was they were so lucky that they found,
and it was called, this was written into the script, you know.
Yeah, because they just wanted to get him out of there. And to me, the dad didn't even seem that bad. I mean, you know, it's I don't appreciate the well, what was the fighting? Was it between people or animals? It was people, right?
For what?
When they were in Mexico, the cage fighting?
Yeah, it was people.
Yeah, people. Okay, so that's fine. People.
It was like MMA, and that was the whole point. Is like the guy was fighting MMA, but Johnny was using karate and kick, you know, and they both kicked the dude's ass with karate instead of MMA, which was trying to show like MMA was a worser sport than karate, because, you know, whatever, because MMA is just, I don't know, it's just mixed martial arts, you know, instead of karate, which is one martial art. You know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Okay. So that's what they were watching, and I'm just glad they got out of it. I really am. I mean,
yeah, it was what, 1 episode or 2 episodes?
Yeah, because it's 90210 or Melrose Place or whatever. I'm gonna go find my dad.
I was like, I want to get back to. I was more like interested, obviously, in the Terry Silver, you know, rivalry thing. Like, I like the fact that he did videos on YouTube. You know, he had his own like little channel, Cobra Kai channel. I'm like, I hope they marketed that shit to transmedia shit, where they put
They kind of
a
did.
fictional version. I think we talked about this. I want a fictional version where it's like the Cobra Kai, right? So you actually see all the videos that they filmed for, you know, for whatever, and then you can actually click on, like, you know, like maybe Terry Silver does like a tutorial on how to do certain kicks.
If they haven't done it by now, they're not. I would think.
I know, it's a missed opportunity. And if I were their marketing person, you know, that's exactly what I'd be saying.
Well, there are the commercials that are in season 5 are on YouTube as commercials.
Right.
So you could find those on there. But I've seen a lot of videos where people are reviewing this season going, why isn't Netflix advertising this? Like, why aren't they're not plugging it as much as they did the other seasons? Like, some people said, like, oh, we had no idea that it was even coming out.
Yeah.
So,
no.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, once again, is Netflix being Netflix and they're just going to cancel shit before it ends?
Netflix is not really good at promoting, period. They're never very good at promoting because they don't view their marketing structure as, you know, promotion. They view it as word of mouth. That's the problem. And that's what's going to keep getting them in trouble, is they got to get over that model of, like, you know, doing word of mouth, because the problem is that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get more viewers, because not enough people remember hearing about this, right? It was just like you and I think it was you and I reviewed a movie that was on Netflix that I had never heard of. The
vampire one?
The vampire one. I had never heard of it because Netflix doesn't promote it.
Yeah,
and
like
then
Night Fangs or Fangs.
Yeah. Night Fangs or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was mostly women vampires, but they're also fighting men vampires. But yeah.
And it could have been a really cool series. It's either, or not series, but film, but it would have been really cool. But they, unfortunately, did not market that. So not many people knew of it. So in my opinion, if people say, oh, I want to pitch my movie to Netflix, I would say no. You know, I would tell them, don't go to like Amazon, or go to Amazon promotes like a motherfucker. Hulu promotes.
Oh my
so much
God, if I see anything else for fucking, was it Rings of Power, I'm gonna shoot myself.
But I'm saying, but see, they might have annoyed you in the promotion, but goddamn, you can't say they did not promote the shit out of that. So,
for a show for 2 seasons that cost $1 billion, I would hope they would.
I know and
it's ultimately failing beyond belief. So
probably
House of Dragon is
I haven't watched that either.
Kicking its ass, from what I understand.
I have no interest in any of that stuff, period. But Marvel's really good at promotion. Disney's really good at promotion. All that stuff.
Your dog is really good at promotion?
She is going crazy right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just hope that they... I mean, I remembered when Twin Peaks was originally on, and they had the first season, and you see, like Kyle MacLachlan, he's looking in the mirror, he's Bob, he's laughing insanely, and then it says like to be continued or whatever it is. That was the end of the season, and all of us were like, oh shit! And then the next thing we hear, it's canceled. And it's like, what the fuck? And then that's David Lynch, even because he was making, Fire Walk with Me, which was a prequel, and then he was going to make a sequel movie. He's like, I didn't even know it was canceled. I had no idea I was making my film. And we had to wait how long for Twin Peaks to return, which I heard was awful.
That was not as good.
Yeah. So it's like, God, just end shit properly, man. Just give us season 6.
I really hope
we'll be fine.
Season 6. But if they don't, they don't. I mean, they did not end it in a way where I'm not going to be Sheldon, going, oh my God, I want to know what's going to, like they did not leave me with a big enough cliffhanger that I'm just like, I need to know what's going to happen. Like Terry Silver's in jail, Crease broke out, okay.
But they set us up for the world champion thing, which from what I understand doesn't exist. But
no, I don't believe
well, and that's the thing is, so to get Carrie Underwood to do all this type of stuff, I don't believe that the Karate Kid going into Cobra Kai exists in our universe. I think that's in a completely different universe because no one gives a shit about Kung Fu. Nobody cares. Daniel won. He probably would have been interviewed locally. He probably would have been in a couple like martial arts magazines, and that's it. It would have been done. So for him to basically from there open up a car dealership, and he has the Kung Fu billboards, and he's doing the bonsai trees, and you still have Johnny, who's not, who's an alcoholic because of this, because he can't get past it because he's stunted. I don't believe, and for some reason, everybody thinks Kung Fu is a big thing. Karate is a big thing.
Yeah, don't call it Kung Fu. Don't lump it in with that.
Don't Jaden Smith us.
Was it Will Smith and a bunch of the Pinkets and stuff are producers of the series, and
in name only.
In name only, pretty much. I mean, I don't think they actually come in and have any.
No, they don't. I read that they only give them credit because they actually own the copyright.
Right, and I'm sure that they gave the Sony and all of them the permission to do the series, because they knew that the original just didn't work, and they were like, let's see if this one works. However, there is a Pinkett in there that I think, because he's like a co-producer or something, so he is involved. So he's related, like he's like Will Smith's nephew or something,
Yeah, both. Yeah, there's the Smith and
I think they are actually related, but I think they are. They work on that thing, but I don't think they are actually.
I'm just glad that the creators said that Jaden Smith's Karate Kid is not part of this universe.
Well, it's a different universe. I mean, it's a remake, a reboot, so I feel like it is a different universe. And
I hate the Smiths. I can't stand them.
They didn't call him Daniel. They didn't call it Mr.
That's
Miyagi.
A good thing. Yeah.
They didn't call him Mr. Miyagi. They didn't keep it. It like literally felt like somebody made a Karate Kid knockoff movie.
The Asylum.
And then just called it and then they had a script for it, and then Will Smith's like, oh, this seems a lot like the Karate Kid. Let me just go buy the rights to the Karate Kid.
Well, okay, this is what I heard. I heard that Jaden Smith wanted to do a remake of the Karate Kid, and and Will bought him the rights so he could start in it. Yeah, for like a birthday present or something like that.
That's a hell of a birthday present.
Yeah, and they're like, and so like, oh no, Jaden, even though we're all listed as producers on it, Jaden tried out and he was just the best, the best actor. Bullshit. He got it through nepotism, pure nepotism. And the producer, who was a Jerry Weintraub, wanted to keep karate. I keep saying karate. No, I'm right on this one. Karate, when they're doing Kung Fu. And Jackie Chan is, he practices Kung Fu. He's Chinese.
I think that's why they called it that, because he wasn't Japanese. They didn't have somebody. They could have got. I mean, was Jet Li? Is he Japanese? I'm not sure.
No, Jet Li is Chinese because he did all the Once Upon a Time in China films. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess they don't have a Japanese actor that knows this much martial arts. But it's just as bad as the Kickboxer series, having freaking the new Kickboxer movies having what's his Jean-Claude Van Damme in them as the teacher, or whatever. And I'm just like, really?
But do you dislike him though? See, I hate Will Smith and his family. I hate Jada Pinkett Smith. I liked her before she got the Smith, but I hated her when she got the Smith. Will Smith is insufferable, and I think he should have never gotten that Academy Award. He's forcing his son to be an actor. He's forcing his daughter to be a singer. They have no talent whatsoever. I mean, Jada Pinkett Smith, she cucks him. That's all he does. He is such a beta to her alpha. And I cannot stand it, even though I do think Will Smith has made some good films and I own them. Bad Boys, I Am Legend, stuff like that, Men in Black. But I don't get it because it's him. I get it because he's in it.
Yeah,
but that's the thing.
It's the movie great, you know.
Yeah, and so if Van Damme is in these films as somebody else, I don't dislike Van Damme. It's disappointing that he's not the kickboxer, I guess, or just kickboxer. But at least he's not insufferable like Jaden is. Jaden is so, oh my God. I would even be, as long as they don't do a Stallone, John Travolta thing, you know, where one of the Cobra Kai kids is walking down the street and they turn and there's Jaden.
Yeah.
Please never do that. Even if it's 30 seconds.
I don't think they would. But here's the thing. So remember the movie Jersey Girl with Kevin Smith in? There was a big bit where Ben Affleck's character completely like says like, you know, Will Smith is a terrible, so one joke, person, blah 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 blah, and that's why he gets fired, right? Because he disses his client, and he like made it, right, and he gets fired, and he has to, whatever, go on with raising his daughter and everything. At the end of the movie, Will Smith's in the scene with him, right? And he's talking to him, and Will Smith's being very cool. And I'm like, that's awesome, because Will Smith read the script. I guarantee you, I don't think he did not read the script, or know anything about it, and he played along with it because the guy said some pretty nasty, stuff about Will Smith, like he should never be, he should never have been a star, kind of thing. Like he's such a joke kind of thing, And then here you go, he's actually very cool. So I always liked Will Smith. I always think he's got he had a, except for that stupid slap, I can't say.
I think Will Smith is like Bill Cosby, and that he's giving women no. Our perception of Bill Cosby for decades was the Jello guy, the Cosby Show, the loving dad and husband, the guy who did great stand-up comedy and like only swore once, when he did Fat Albert, that we had this image of Bill Cosby that was kind of perfect. And then we found out all these awful stuff about him. And Will Smith, I could see, is kind of the same thing, is that everybody loves Will Smith, and Will Smith is so wonderful, and Will Smith is all this. He's like this perfect guy. And then he goes up, and then he gives the slap, heard around the world type of thing. And then this stuff comes out about him not being a good guy, and that he actually is kind of a dick, and that it's a persona that he's using allegedly, and that now he's got this reputation, and he's going to continue this bad reputation because he's still the highest paid actor in Hollywood, and he just broke all paycheck records for his next film. He's still the highest paid actor in Hollywood, even though this guy is a fucking volcano, and he's erupted a few times, and he really, erupted at the Academy Awards. So that's what I'm hoping. I don't want to kind of go back to Cobra Kai. That's why I don't really want to know a lot about these people. I don't want to know if they're Republican or Democrat. I don't want to know if they've done bad things. I don't want to know any of that type of stuff, because once you find out that people that you like do these shitty things, you kind of don't want to support it anymore.
Speaking of which, I met both William Zabka and Martin Kove at Scares I Care one year.
Nice.
And William Zabka, so I came up to him and I asked him if I could do an interview with him, through my video and stuff. And he said, I'm sorry, but I'd rather not. And I said, how come? And he said, because he's done them before, and the person will automatically ask him like nasty questions and turn it into like him being a bad guy, right? And stuff. They just want him
I can see that
to say the wrong thing. And he's like, after then, I just said no. I won't do them anymore. But thank you for like he was very generous about it. And then later he took a picture when he was like walking around, and I got a picture with him and stuff. I
Nice.
like that. Then Martin Cove, I chatted with him, and I was talking to him, and I was like, oh yeah, I chat with I know your son Jesse, because me and Jesse have talked about working on a project together, and unfortunately it didn't happen. But this is before Cobra Kai and everything. I don't know how big Jesse's paycheck probably got up, because he played the bully that bullies
Yes.
young,
Yeah. Once again, what a great casting choice. Don't get an
Right.
actor that looks like him or kind of looks like him. Get his son. That makes total sense.
Well, actually, he didn't play him. He didn't play his son didn't play him. Somebody else did. But
no, I'm sorry. I'm misstating it. Yes, I'm misstating that. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. He played the guy who was being bullied. Yeah.
He was playing the guy who bullied
Yes,
Marvin.
I'm still getting it wrong. Yeah.
So anyway, it's okay. But so anyway, so I mentioned that to him, and he's like, oh, just right. We start talking and stuff, and then he gave me a couple free pictures. Like he gave me like a rock or Rambo thing, and signed it, and then took a picture with me, and stuff, all for free, because he was just a nice guy to me. I don't know if I should have said that. Now people are going to go, well, you gave Jonathan a free and blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing. Even though I got my stories twice wrong on that one, it's still good casting. And I do talk about nepotism. But the thing is that if it's a son or a daughter, or even if it's a friend or whatever, if they're talented and good, then the nepotism isn't, I don't think it's that bad.
Like you were talking about before. So before, to me, not on this particular one, but we talked about it where there was what movie was it that we talked about that had like the girls acted in it, and then like she brought her friend into the thing, and then you were like, oh, so they probably knew each other, and then the person said, hey, I've got my friend who's blah blah blah, do you want to put her in the movie, right?
I kind of remember that, but I'm forgetting the film.
I'm forgetting what movie it was, but it was two girls, and one of them, they both knew each other, both friends, and I knew that, and you were like, oh, okay, well, that totally makes sense that they would do that. When it comes to this, like, he didn't say, can you make my son play like the lead something or other, where, what I mean, like a lead bad character. He's in only one episode. He has one scene, basically. It's a really awesome scene. I love the scene, but it was perfect, but it worked really well. I bet he also probably might have auditioned too for it, for real, not just like how Will Smith says, oh, he auditioned, he was the best role for the thing. I bet he literally probably did audition, or they were just like, hey, can you play a bully? Let's like.
Well, and in a way, the bully thing kind of makes sense, because Martin Cove's character ends up being a bully.
Right.
So his son plays the bully that turns him into the bully.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
So it does kind of work that, a nice kid ends up being mean, and, so it kind of works out that way. And,
right.
and it's, yeah, I have no problem with, Judd Apatow does it all the time. Every movie he made, Freaks and Geeks. Look how many people from that turned out to be big actors.
That was blind casting. He had no idea that those people would be stars. And
he helped them all out. Also, he worked with Adam Sandler and all of his stuff, and all of them were in that big group, and they all branched out to do other stuff. So I think when it's talented people that are helping each other out, Saturday Night Live, whatever it might be, because they helped each other out a lot too, it's okay. But when nobody is going, fuck man, I really want that Jaden Smith movie. I really want it. When is that movie coming out?
I don't know. A lot of people did like Pursuit of Happiness, which
I've heard it's good, but I won't watch it because Jaden Smith has destroyed everything he's been in. So I'm not going to take that chance and have that. Everybody says it's good.
After Earth movie that I think will
garbage. Absolute.
I have not seen it, but I know of it. And
it's awful. It's M. Night too, and they didn't even advertise it as that. No, it's a horrible film, and Jaden was also in Day the Earth Stood Still, who was horrible. That it's so bad.
Day the Earth Stood Still wasn't that Tom Cruise?
Keanu Reeves.
Tom Cruise was War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Day the Earth Stood Still was
Keanu.
Both are old, rebooted, disaster.
Oh yeah. They're remakes. Yeah.
Of like alien invasion movies or whatever. So I'm getting them mixed up. Also, I remember the day time stood still or whatever that fucking Asylum made, and shit. They do.
Yeah, they took it from the original book. That's the title of the original book, and the filmmakers of The Day the Earth Stood Still. I don't know if it was it was of the remake. They were going to sue them, and the judge said it's the book.
It's the book.
It's the book.
I mean, that's the thing, because that's what they do. They did that with the what's that? What's the John or the Princess of Mars? John Carter or whatever.
Oh yeah, by Burroughs. Yeah.
Yeah. So they took the actual They did Princess of Mars, the movie, and based it on that. So they can't get sued.
With Tracy Lords, I believe. Yeah.
What?
With Tracy Lords. Yeah. So
where else is she gonna be?
Hey, if you can get her, why not? Do you feel that you have a favorite season of Cobra Kai yet, since we kind of did our ranking of the Karate Kid movies? Or are they? To me, they're all kind of like, I don't think I have a favorite season. Maybe season 1, just because it was such a surprise. It was
3 and 4 are like kind of up there. What I really like, and they sort of did this at the end. Like every episode sort of leads up to the big fight scenes. Like was the first season or second season where Miguel gets, I think it's the second season, where he gets kicked off the at the school. He gets kicked off
and he lands on the railing. Yeah,
on the railing and breaks his back or whatever. So like that that stuff, them fighting and all the cool fight scenes like that involve the kids, right? Because they do it like even in the 4th season they did that, I think in the 9th episode, right before the last episode, because the last episode of the 4th season was the big fight, big tournament, stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like this season, if it wasn't the last season, it was a filler season, for like, which kind of sucks, I don't like filler seasons. There are seasons that just feel like they're leading up to something cooler later, but they just haven't gotten there yet. And that's what this season felt like,
Well, I think this season was definitely cheaper because they don't even show the car lot. There's one scene of Daniel at the car lot where they're all at that table, and like a customer pokes his head in and goes, "I want to buy a car. Can somebody sell me one?"
Right.
And that's like the only reference, really to, there's a couple times where
somebody out there anyway, like one person. Why do they need all 4 of them in the room?
Well, like the dealership used to be a big deal, like and now in this season it's like non-existent. It doesn't.
It was more about the rivalry and the wife, who's sick and tired of this shit, and stuff. Like I could care less about the scene where he goes to Silver's house and has to deal with all of the stuff with his wife. Like I get it. Like we're supposed to like be worried about what Silver's gonna do, there or whatever. But I was like, he's just freaking him out, like I could tell that. You know?
Are you talking about the party that Silver had and he was manipulating Daniel?
Yeah,
That scene?
yeah, I hated it. I hated all that. Like,
Really,
here,
I like that because I knew exactly what he was doing, and I was waiting to see how long it took for Daniel to hit him or push him into a table, and because he has Daniel has the most loving and understanding wife I think that's ever been created. Because I would think by now she would have been separated or divorced or
yeah,
something from him. I mean, she's threatened it a few times, with leaving him.
yeah, with
Um,
leaving him. But, I mean, and I don't know. What do you think about the baby situation with fucking Johnny? You know
I
that they're
think they handled it well. When I went, oh no, please don't bring baby in it. I'm like, I don't know, we're on season 5. Are they jumping the shark if they're going to be ending the show soon? I'm like,
yeah they are
I
really
don't,
ending, like if they didn't end it at this season, they're ending it like season 6 or
because he
7.
has to have the baby. She has to have it. Like in season 6, they have to show her having the kid so then he could be a better dad. And I guess after a while, I didn't mind it because I thought it was funny with him like redoing the whole apartment
Yeah, like
and like
he's
baby
actually
proofing
like
it.
now he's realizing like, I need to actually be a real um I didn't care like for the comedy of him driving around,
Oh, you
like
didn't like the Uber stuff?
yeah, it's just I felt like after a while I was like, this is too stupid. Like nobody's gonna be that like I mean, it fits well with this character, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm just saying nobody's gonna be like drinking on the job if they're working at Uber and not get fired. Like that's
Well,
just not gonna happen.
it's funny because I think Johnny is the one that has had the best and most of a character arc. He's definitely grown as a character, but then yeah, there are stuff where he's going backwards, like drinking while driving and stuff like that. It is I
Well,
find
just
it
like
funny,
people
like when
kind
he
of fired. Like I
is one
okay,
star. What? How does he know what all the 1-star ratings and all that stuff are if he still doesn't really even know what the internet is? I
yeah.
mean, you would think a guy who's like him would know the internet pretty well because he'd watch a shitload of porn. So, I mean, he
Really?
still is acting like he's in the 90s or before. It's like
80s,
you would
like
think, yeah, by now he would have all this stuff down.
well, like I mean, nobody's and you know what? That's I think a lot of people have a problem with that. If you take it as it's like satire in a way, like it's not meant to be taken seriously, then it's fine. But like his character from the very beginning of the show, from like the pilot, he is completely like he does not do the internet. He keeps to himself. He keeps getting fired off these odd jobs because he keeps arguing with people or whatever, starting fights. And I mean,
Well,
what
see, I don't think that it's he keeps off the internet. He doesn't know what the internet is. Like
so
like like
how do you
like
not know what the internet is?
he seems completely confused. It's almost like on Family Guy when they introduce Quagmire to the internet because he always masturbates to magazines, and he's like, "What's the internet?" And then they go, "Well, there's like a ton of porn on the internet," and then he comes
Here's
out like days later with a muscle on his like right arm that's like this huge.
it was 2000
But it's like, how do you not know what these things are?
when in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Remember, Jay goes, "What the fuck is the internet?" Right? That was 2001. So I can sort of kind of understand that like Jay and Silent Bob don't, haven't used the internet because they haven't they were probably like, only because like that's what Johnny says is like computers are for nerds. I
But
don't do because they're for nerds.
I don't. I mean, even just in the parking lot next to me, there are a bunch of cars that say Uber, Lyft, or just Uber. How can you not drive down the street, especially in LA, and not see stickers that say Uber or Lyft? You would
Yeah.
have to see them, and for somebody to go, well, there is a way for you to earn money by just driving your car. and what is this newfangled thing? And it's like, that to me doesn't, it's funny because I like when he drove up to the two girls and he goes, are either one of you Michael? And she goes, it's Michaela. I thought that was funny. And he's like, yeah, whatever. But though I think the drinking went too far. I think him saying, oh, 1 star because it smells like beer. Well, that's because there is beer. That I don't think, no, that doesn't work for me.
That would have got him fired. Here's why I know that, because I used to do DoorDash for a long time and Postmates and stuff. So I used to do those, especially in LA, because that was a good way to earn extra money and stuff. And from what happened in DoorDash, which Uber is much more strict than, you have to have a really nice car. I don't think his car, even though it's a whatever, would actually work with an Uber, maybe with Lyft. I guess Lyft would be okay. Uber not, because Uber, you have to have like cars that have specific stuff set up where you can have the internet and everything. It's got to be set up for the internet, because that's just the way Uber wants, like it's got to be a nice car. But anyway, so also when one of my friends worked for DoorDash, she got fired from DoorDash for somebody sending in a really negative review, and I think, I don't know if she had more like negative reviews or something and added up, but she got fired from one person sent it over, and I think like that literally would have happened with Johnny. However, it's TV. They don't need to explain any of that stuff,
Right.
He can still drive around even though he's got beer in the car, because it's funny, it's comedy, it's not meant to be taken seriously. I don't think there's a guy like Johnny driving around like that,
But it still has to be said in some sort of realism, unless, like I said, this is a completely alternate universe where the world revolves around karate and karate matters, and there's fighting dojos, in the streets.
Yeah,
and that you're getting the key to the city, basically, because he kicked the guy in the face. I mean, nobody cares. I mean, I have right by me like 3 different martial arts places, and I never see anybody there.
I have never seen franchise dojos, so a big deal with me was that when I first watched Karate Kid when I was 7 years old,
God, I'm old.
Yeah. Well, I was 7 years old, but that's not when it came out.
Oh, okay.
I was 7 years old when I first watched it. That was 19 was it 7 I guess 1989, I guess, or so. So the first 2 movies had already come out, I believe, and stuff. And I fell in love with this stuff. And my dad wanted me to do a sport, because, just get me out of the house, doing something active, getting me, whatever, right? And I tried soccer and I hated it. I was bored. Me and my friend just talked the whole time while people are going around kicking everything around us, whatever. So we ended up, so I said, I want to do karate because I like the Karate Kid and it looked like fun. I like to kick and punch and stuff. Like that sounded like fun. And plus I thought it would, I guess my parents thought it would help with my self-esteem and everything else, right? So I went over there and did karate in the rec center, and I fell in love with Shorin-ryu Shorin-kan karate. That's what I did. Now it's just Shorin-ryu, I think, and Shorin-kan is a completely differently like split. But when I was there, they were together as one thing. But I don't understand, I only know that stuff from coming back and trying it again when I was like 30 and not being able to do it like I could when I was 7,
You just doing
But
the oh, oh
you know,
my
I got up to
back.
like,
Oh.
junior black belt, but we never went over to like the Taekwondo groups or whatever and was like, we're better than you. We're the dojo of like Shorin-ryu karate, like none of that. Nobody cared. You studied what you study. Other
Yeah,
people
that's
study.
that's why I think this is alternate universe stuff. Because even in Karate Kid 3, when Silver's like, I'm gonna open up a bunch of dojos. Why? Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about. I mean, I think they probably care more about a bonsai tree shop, people, for their yards or whatever it is, more than they care about karate. That's why I think this is so bizarre and I love it. But like, why is karate so huge? It's like it just doesn't make sense. That's why I think it's an alternate universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, doesn't make any sense. But if you just watch these movies, it's funny because I had an idea for a movie years ago before Cobra Kai came out. Now I can't do it because it just sounds too much like Cobra Kai. But I had this idea of two senseis. They're both brothers, right? Like competing against each other, and it was going to be sibling rivalry kind of thing. I forgot what it was going to be called. It had a really cool name to it. And then but it was too similar, and now like if I try to make it now, it would just sound like, oh, you're just ripping off Cobra Kai. Like, no, I mean, I had this idea for years, but I have no proof, nor it's just an idea, in my head. I mean, I guess you could make it. It's a
You just make it different. Just sell it to the asylum so they could do that type of thing.
If I could sell something to the asylum, I would.
I mean, so what is your take on Stingray?
He used to be my least favorite character, period. Like I always hated him. I always thought like, but then I started thinking about me when I was in my 30s, and I had to fight these like little 16-year-old girls who could kick my ass. And I was like, oh God, right? And I was like, kids are like way more vicious than like adults, because adults can't really hurt kids, they're not supposed to, right? So like I'm like, so I get it. And I this season he didn't annoy me as much, mainly because he was sort of not in it as much, too. He didn't annoy me in the last season either, because he was sort of in it for like maybe 5 minutes, total or whatever, like I think the less you give Stingray, the more I'm like, okay, like I don't know how people feel about him, like if a lot of people like him or not, but he just sort of annoys me,
I would agree with that. And one of the things that kind of bothered me was when he gets his new place and he has all the stuff in it that, for going through with this whole thing of being put into the hospital, and Daniel comes to visit him and everybody comes to visit him to find out what's going on. There's no cameras. Like, why wouldn't Terry Silver have cameras in there? You think that he'd have at least a microphone or something in there just in case somebody did come by. I mean, I mean, I don't know why. So to me, that was kind of weird that, nothing was in there. That kind of bothered me. I mean, Terry Silver just seems like the person who would have cameras everywhere.
Yeah, we talked about that before. And and no, I completely 100% agree with you. I think he's sort of like I didn't buy it, They just had to have a reason, like, like what is Stingray going to be doing now? Because like if it came out, somehow or another that, oh, Stingray was the reason why Martin Cove went to prison, jail, whatever he went to, that he would, that they would come to him, right? At some point, this discussion. So they had to do something with them, and they're like, let's have it be where, now Silver is helping him out, it's giving him a place to stay.
Yeah. I just think that he'd have some sort of, I don't know, he'd be spying on him in some sort of way.
the last season or the season before then, he was like living with his like brother or sister or something or whatever, and like they wouldn't, they did not want him there, if I remember
He's
correctly.
always been kind of a loser. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, and everybody keeps saying that, like, oh no, he was like staying at his like whatever, and like the neighbor was like, why are you still here? Why aren't you, you're, and why are you having like kids hanging out at your house? Like, this is honestly, this is really creepy. There are moments where I'm like, this kind of pushing the like, because like,
well, just him being at the high school and getting into that fight is kind of weird.
Yeah, like could
why are
he
you always around kids?
Yeah, shouldn't there be like a restraining order against him and kids? I mean,
yeah, at some point you would think that it's just like, God, this guy keeps hanging out with kids and stuff. And I mean, I did kind of like his big speech of who he is and why he's there, but I've never understood when people go, Jonathan, I can't tell you who gave me the poster behind me, but
right.
if I tell it to you in a story, that I could tell you. Because aren't you just doing the same thing?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't make any. So him, and I've never understood why people do that.
It would make sense if he was being recorded. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like
being recorded, like you said. And if he had like, said, pointed at something and showed like, oh, there's a a voice thing or something, right? But even then, him saying, I can't tell you guys that, then they would hear that and they would go, wait, you're basically telling them that. So no matter what, you're right. Like no matter what, it's a stupid ploy. Like,
yeah, if you do some sort of allegory, it's still the same. It's still
because
they circling around to the same thing.
Because like, what is he gonna say? Well, no, I never told them that, right? And they're gonna go,
I told them about an ogre.
I told them about an ogre, and then be like, okay, let's do a lie detector test. Let's find out if that is true.
Yeah, I think Terry's a little smarter than that. So
no, I think if he found out that they, that he said something, that he would, whatever, right?
I saw this and I didn't click on it because I got busy at work, but I did see a video on YouTube with the little black kid that was in Cobra Kai who quit.
Yeah.
It said the thumbnail was, they fired me.
What?
Yeah, but I didn't click on it. I forgot about it, and then I was helping somebody, so I'm gonna have to go back and see that. So I wonder if because he was one of my favorite characters.
Which one was he? Which one?
The short little black kid who was in Cobra Kai and he was kicking everybody's ass. How can you not remember him?
One that was in the Did they fire him from the next season? Because he was in the last season.
Right. I think that's what he's saying is, in between, they fired me.
I'm saying he was in season 5.
Right. But he's saying they fired me from season 6.
I don't know.
So somewhere in between 5 and 6, they fired him. I don't know. That's just what the thumbnail said. They fired me. And he's in the Cobra Kai, or he's in the karate, the gi or whatever you call it. And then it shows him kind of crying. And but I didn't click on it. But he was one of my favorite characters. I like it.
I don't.
Well, and here, this is going to sound racist, and I'm sorry, people, if it does. It's not meant to be, because when I was watching it, I said, he moves like a monkey. I said this to myself, and that's only because a long time ago in the 70s, there was a movie called Monkey Kung Fu, and it was these little guys that would go around kicking the big guys' asses. And they would swing from trees, and they would crisscross their legs, and they would kick ass like a monkey. And it was called Monkey Kung Fu. And it reminded me of that. So I kept saying to myself, that guy reminds me of that movie, Monkey Kung Fu. So please, nobody I'm not saying it as a racist or anything. I'm saying it reminded me of a movie with, I'm not sure if they were Chinese or Japanese or whatever. There were Asians. So it's not meant to be racist, but he reminded me of that because he's short and he's fast. and that he could probably take on somebody bigger than him. And I really like his character. So if that's true, or maybe it's just clickbait, I don't know.
I see it. They fired me, and it's from Film Tremble. And it says breaking news, and it says Cobra Kai season 5, new details fans need to know. So I don't know.
Well, how long ago was it then? I didn't see the date or anything.
4 weeks ago, a month ago. So before season 5.
Okay, and season 5 was done. I mean, it wasn't just finished a month ago. I mean, they've had it done for a while.
Fired him like right after, you know. So I don't know. I don't know.
I used to subscribe to that YouTube channel, Cobra Kai Theory, and I hate theories. I can't stand theories because the theories are normally wrong.
Right.
You know, and I don't give a shit about your theory. I want to know facts. So don't sit there and tell me Julie's coming back for season 5. That's my theory. No, I want to know Hilary Swank is returning for part 5. If she's not in part 5, then shut up. I'm hoping she's in season 6. That would be their ace in the hole. Would be Hilary Swank coming back, because then she's Academy Award winner Hilary Swank.
Right.
Even if it's for 1 episode or maybe 2 episodes, that to me would be the ace in the hole for them, is to get an Academy Award winner to be on that show.
Yep, that would be awesome. Like, I mean, just having them on there would be like having Hillary, I don't know who's left in this.
Well, yeah, they're running out.
Like, there's nobody left. And everybody in the Twitter comments and stuff on I know you don't do Twitter much, but I'm on it. I post all my stuff on there. I just don't understand how to get people to look at my stuff, because so far I've done like 100 posts and not 1 like. So I don't know how Twitter works. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because sometimes I'll get a couple likes or something, and then sometimes I'll get nothing. You know, nobody.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I think maybe I got 1. I think like Joe Sherlock liked one of my videos because it was about him. So,
but what? So Twitter, the creator John, what's his name? John
Horowitz. I just said it, didn't I?
Yeah, John Horowitz. He went on Twitter to post like Q&A. I think I told you about that, because we wanted to know whether or not there was another season coming and whatnot. And he had done Q&A, and people there were like saying a lot of stuff about just this about Hilary Swank, how they want Hilary Swank. And every single answer that he would kind of give was like kind of cryptic, you know, because it's like Marvel, you know. Marvel can't say we got Keanu Reeves to play Ghost Rider, right? You know, and I'm just using that as an example. They don't. But
Keanu Reeves is Ghost Rider?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't want no rumors. Oh my God, Jonathan, because that's the problem now. Is there too many like YouTubers and people like that go around and say, you know, like you said, you hate Cobra Kai Theory and stuff. Marvel's got it worse. They've got 1 million guys all talking, and then they've got these people that are supposedly like insiders who are going around saying, "Oh, I just heard that Keanu Reeves is Ghost Rider," and then 1 million, you know, places go on there. Oh, this just in. You know, breaking news, you know, right? And it's not. Nobody's ever, you know, that's just a rumor.
Yeah, people need to. I think that they need to stop that, and that's. I mean, we can have our wishes. You know, we want Hilary Swank, but I don't think that somebody should put out there like my thing with Mike Barnes, and you sent me the thing that said, I think, you know, Cobra Kai producer or creator confirms Mike Barnes or something like that.
Yeah.
And I wrote back, I told you, because throughout the last year or whatever it is, more and more people were interviewing the actor who plays Mike Barnes.
What do you mean?
And it's, you're one of them, yes. You're one of them, yes. Yeah. And it's like, why is he being interviewed? So it's like the same thing with Terry Silver.
And here's the
Why
thing.
is he always being interviewed? Oh, he must be on the new season.
So I asked him questions about Cobra Kai a little, or like at least the Karate Kid world, and and stuff. And the only thing he can say is like, I really hope I come back, right? Like he at that point he hadn't been able to, he wasn't allowed to say anything yet, probably signed an NDA, right? But he was being interviewed and he was asking for interviews and he wanted to get interviews and stuff. And so when I asked him, I said, Sean Kanan, it's Mike Barnes' real name. I said, Sean, do you want to come on my show? And he was like, yes, I would love to, right. And we had a really good talk. Like he took the time and chatted with me. And I think it was one of the most fun episodes I've had, like of people I'm interviewing, because he just was really down to earth, like, and stuff. And what honestly, he's loving everything. I see all his Twitter, feeds, tweets and stuff, and he's just loving the, being back in the Karate Kid world, But he's been doing a lot. He does a lot of soap opera stuff. He did his own soap opera show that he created, and stuff. Like he's been doing, a lot of stuff that he's enjoying,
No,
so
good for him.
Sort of a soap opera parody, but it's fun web series,
But you always know that if all of a sudden an actor that you hope is going to be in something is all of a sudden being interviewed, on something that's like that, then you could kind of guess that, oh, okay, good. Hopefully they're on the next season, because if Hilary Swank is being interviewed with one of the creators of Cobra Kai, you can pretty much guarantee that she's going to be on the show. And I've been thinking, since you brought it up, like, okay, who do they have left? So if you think of the original film, so the mom's been on the show. The rest of Cobra Kai's been on the show.
Except for one.
Yeah, except for one. So they could bring him back. But we did get
But they get Chad McQueen. That is the biggest get period, because Chad McQueen has sort of vanished off of acting. Like he does not act anymore. He's retired completely. He's doing his own thing, whatever he's doing, I don't know. But his son, however, Steve R. McQueen, has been doing like he was in Vampire Diaries and stuff like that. So he's sort of
so we could still bring back one Cobra Kai guy, but we've had the majority of them back, and so I can't think of
all the rest of them back except for him. And then they mentioned he was in jail or whatever, which that would have been the perfect place to have.
What are you doing there? You're spazzing out.
They would have had to miss an opportunity. The jail could have had Dutch.
Kreese and Dutch?
Kreese and Dutch could have met each other in jail and had like a conversation, and maybe Dutch could have been like the one picking on him, but no, they don't even.
It would have been very convenient, to have them in the same place at the same time, but it would have been, it would have been fun.
Because they mentioned in the first season that he was still in jail, so it would have made sense. He's in jail there,
but he could have been in jail in Nebraska, or he could have been in jail in Florida, or any place like that. So the chances of them meeting are 1,000,000,000 to 1, but it would have been fun.
Like it made no. That would have made more sense.
But they could always have Dutch come back still as a bad guy and fight Johnny. So if they wanted to do that,
because I guess not enough money in the world. Netflix doesn't have enough money in the world to pay that dude.
So then part 2. So we got Chosen, we got the little girl in the tree, we got the girlfriend. I don't think there's anybody else that we need, because by this point the brother and all that would be dead.
The Mr. Miyagi's friend who kind of
the one who we had the war with is obviously dead. Then part 3.
But we did get a young version of him in the movie, in the show, there's a young I forgot what his name is. He started with an S, but that guy is teaching young Chosen in a flashback.
Yes. Okay, so we have had him, but different. Yeah, just different.
Yeah, but a different actor. It was a younger actor, but we did have him. So they did. So they didn't show a young Miyagi, which I don't know if they're going to do that or not.
I don't. I think that's going to be its own series or its own movie because he's the only one that has not had flashbacks, unless it's Karate Kid or something. So
I think Kimmel was talking to Ralph Macchio, and like Ralph Macchio said, like it's literally like Miyagi's spirit is there, you know, watching them and stuff. He really feels like Miyagi's, or like Pat Morita is there watching them and making, you know, helping them along the way. So
it's funny. Have you actually heard Pat Morita talk?
Normally?
Yeah, how it's just a straightforward voice. Like he doesn't have the accent.
Right.
So it's interesting hearing. Yeah, it's
Happy Days.
Yeah, it's fun because everybody, you know, I don't think a lot of people, especially young people, know that he was on Happy Days, and it was just he just used his regular voice. I think they all know him as like the Yoda of karate. So he's got
he is Yoda. I was rewatching Karate Kid 3. Like I was rewatch the fight scene, you know, at the end where Mike started kicking Daniel's ass, and then Daniel has like a little girl runs off, you know, screaming, crying, you know, and then Mr. Miyagi comes in, wah, starts kicking everybody's ass and everything. How he was like Yoda in Attack of the Clones, where Yoda's like
flipping all about.
You know, yeah, I saw him like that. Like I was like, Mr. Miyagi.
Okay, so here's my question to you. So we have 3 villains, all defeated. All of them think they should have won. So do you think that they, at the end of the film, so you have like Johnny who thinks he should have won, that the kick to the face was illegal. You then have Chosen who says that he thinks he should have won. And then Barnes, same thing. So you got these 3 guys who are friends with Daniel, but all feel that they should have won. Do you think that there's any sort of like bad feelings that they, you know, character-wise to Daniel?
I know Johnny had like really bad feelings through the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Like, he hated Daniel, you know. Mike, I feel, has kind of moved past that. And so has Chosen. Sort of, they both kind of they both kind of grew up and matured, you know. Johnny's the only one who hasn't matured, really. Like,
but Chosen is talking to Johnny in that bar when he's drunk, and he's like, "I should have won." He's telling him like,
"I understands he didn't win," and he, you know, like I think because he said something like, "We fought to the death," but then Daniel like
honk.
Yeah, he saved my life or whatever. You know, he spared my life.
Well, and because they all their lives were ruined afterwards. So after Daniel won, everybody's life was miserable until something changed it. But Chosen, all of them talk about being a disgrace.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, you know, he might have been a disgrace, but he was a disgrace before that. He should have been a disgrace before that, because he was such a dick to Daniel, you know. And so was Mike. Mike was a dick to Daniel, you know. You know, like he was the bad boy of karate or whatever. And then he lost, you know, at the end, right? And, you know, like then he grew up and realized, I'm not the bad boy of karate anymore. I'm going to go start my own furniture store, you know. Like, I mean, he grew up, you know, decided to put karate aside because it wasn't what, you know, he was destined to do for the rest of his life. Got married to a woman whose father owned the place, and then ended up taking over it, you know, taking over the business. He matured.
He did, but I think with all 3 of them deep inside, way in the back, there's still that thing, because I re-met up with a friend on Facebook we stayed friends. We hung out with each other. Like I go to California, and when he came out to Vegas and stuff like that. And it wasn't until politics got involved that we had a falling out. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and this guy isn't much younger than me, he goes, and you didn't like me when we were in high school. You didn't want to hang out with me because I was young.
I'm
I'm
sure
like,
there's
and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're like in our 50s now. You know, like what? You're still holding on to shit from like
Hey, look,
1984?
there were things I held on to for the longest time, still probably do hold on. Like, there's a girl who's really broke my heart hardcore, who uh I I messaged her on Facebook and didn't tell her that, like I didn't think she'd remember me, honestly. She said she did, but who knows, or whatever. She was really sweet. I never told her whatever. I just wanted to have a moment where it was sort of for me to just kind of get over those feelings. Did it work? Probably not. I'm actually putting the scene that broke my heart into a movie and hoping that sort of is cathartic enough to you know to do it. Or actually, it's not. It'll be a TV show episode. But
well, okay, so yeah, so I mean, I kind of have that same thing with a couple people, but it's they're the three bad guys are not telling Daniel this. I mean, Johnny has, but I don't think Chosen has, and I don't think Mike did. They almost need that moment where Daniel's sitting in a chair and the three of them are there, and Daniel's like, "What is this all about?" And it's like, we really need to discuss how you ruined our lives and kind of get this off our chest, and then because Daniel's only had that golden spoon in his mouth.
But what good will it do?
Huh?
What good will it do?
I don't know. It's just if they're going to bring it up to one another, you would think that maybe it would be brought up.
I think they're just not gonna. I think they're just gonna keep it buried inside. Most people do. Like,
which means maybe at one point one of them will snap and fight Daniel. I don't know, but I mean Johnny has. I mean, but
Chosen hasn't yet, like kind of thing. But I don't.
No, they do the play fighting, like when we first saw Chosen and how he did the whole thing, which I always thought was a little aggressive. And then even with Mike Barnes, it's the when they're fighting in the furniture stuff, that it's kind of play fighting, but there's with Mike, there's still a little something there. Maybe I could kick his ass now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those. It's one of those things where, I mean, you could bring that stuff up, but I mean, most times people keep things bottled up. Like
yeah, they do. They do.
So. And we don't, and maybe we'll explode one day, but most of the time we just leave it alone and stuff. And some people have they figure out, they go to therapy for it, and that'd be funny to see Chosen in therapy, do you think, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about those, and he's just like, I should have won, Daniel ruined my life, whatever. Maybe he's in therapy and they just don't talk about it because that's not something people generally just like, oh yeah, I was in therapy.
Well, because if he got over it, he wouldn't have brought it up.
Right. Well, he brought it up when he was drunk.
I mean, if you accidentally killed my dog, and then 30 years later, I'm still going, oh, Jonathan killed my dog. Apparently, I'm not over it.
Right. But if you did it when you were drunk, that's when a lot of your, because I mean, a lot of people know this, and I think you know this, but I used to drink, pretty heavily and stuff. You didn't know me back then, thank God. But you wouldn't have liked it, but when I was drunk, I would constantly bring up the past. Like I got into a fight with a friend of mine personally, because I blamed him for my drinking, because when I first drank, it was because he spiked my Coke and stuff. So for the longest time, I had that. But if you would talk to me when I was sober, I would never have brought that up to anybody, or whatever.
Okay.
Like, I never would have. But when I was drunk, all I could think about was, you're a fucking asshole. I
Dr.
fucking
Booze. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like it was, oh, this is all your fault. This is what I said to him. And now, and we're not friends still to this day, and stuff because of that. He was like, that's it. That's the last straw. And you know what? I don't blame him. I would have been the same way. Like if I got blamed every single day for something that, I did, but I didn't like think was going to like bite my ass like that, I would not, I wouldn't be friends with that person either. Does that mean that 20 years from now, me and him may meet up or whatever? No, most likely not. But if we do, I went to his dad's funeral and I paid my respect and I left, because his dad meant a lot to me. But, and he said, thank you. And I walked away, and that was the last we ever talked to each other, and that's all we need. But if I weren't drunk, I wouldn't have brought that stuff up. That would have got me, So I think sometimes we bring up things that are really bothering us when we're drunk that we would never say sober. And so when he did that, it just went really right over my head because I just was like, that's just chosen, like it didn't. You on the other hand, who don't have a big problem with booze, maybe chosen does, maybe doesn't. I don't know, but
yeah, I rarely drink. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm an eater, as people can tell, so that's my vice. So
I'm an eater, more of an eater than and being 40 now does not help. Like,
no, it doesn't.
30s, my metabolism was great. Now 40 is like, oh shit.
Well, okay, so we are at that point, so we should probably end this. Is there anything else you would like to? Yeah, let's wrap it up. So that's anything else you want to bring up or talk about?
I did the water park stuff. That was fun.
I like the water park because that did remind me of like an 80s kind of like teen movie where there would be the bullies and
also remind me of Karate Kid, like the original Karate Kid where he took the girl to which they did later in Cobra Kai, where he took Sam to the
the park, the mini
golf and stuff, which I still want to go to because it exists still. When I was living in LA, I just never thought about doing it.
We have out here, I mean, there's mini golf and stuff, and there's like a little racetrack where you get into like the little race cars and you drive around. And I've always wanted to, in tribute to Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, shoot something there. Yeah. And it's
okay. I thought you were gonna go with I would take a date to the golf and stuff or whatever.
Oh, no. I mean, if they wanted to, sure, but I would want to shoot something that just kind of as do like
okay, that's it.
Tribute to. So
next girlfriend I get when we go to LA, if I ever go to LA with a girl, we're going to golf and stuff. That's a date.
There you go. So, anything else that we want to bring up?
The last thing I'll share is that when I lived in Van Nuys back in 2020 when I moved there, I got bored really one day. I don't think I've told the story, but I got bored one day and I was like, what can I do? So I started looking up like movie locations and close to Van Nuys, and the Reseda original like Karate Kid apartment complex or whatever that Daniel lived at or whatever was there, so I drove, and you had to park at like you could not park on the street, and you the only place you could park was like I had to go to a 7-Eleven, buy something because I was going to walk away from everything, and I did not want to be towed, right? So I didn't want to get out of the car, go over to the
so you buy a Slurpee, say you bought something, and then leave.
Yeah, I think I bought a couple things, and I just walked over to the site and basically took a picture at the gate because I wanted to go in, but I was like, That's really creepy. Like, this is somebody's like apartment complex, you know, and it was literally gated up. Like, you had to have a code to get it or whatever and stuff. And so if I was like thinking I could ask somebody that's going in there if they didn't mind.
Well,
like
they probably know, because that place is probably famous for, you know,
the
Karate
pool,
Kid
the pool for especially, because that was the whole idea, was remember the pool, like the pool had no water in the beginning and everything. And
right.
and she was talking all about like, you wake up and you pop, you're in your swimming pool, and then there's no pool. But she was like, you know, is that the only pool you got? So like, that would have been cool. Like that's the only thing. But I didn't want to like be this like
No,
weird.
it's like certain places, the Amityville house, and certain complexes and restaurants and motels and all that just get famous.
Full house. They don't really like because like literally you're just taking a picture right outside somebody's literal house. Somebody's living there.
Well, that's what you get for living in front of the Amityville Horror House. I mean, come on, that's you know, an apartment complex you could just take a picture of, you know, on the other side of the street, and there's the apartment complex, and that's fine because it has the name. But for Amityville, it's one house of people living in it, and you want that shot with the windows, and even though they've been changed, but it's I mean, shit, it's always for sale. I wish I had the money. I'd buy it and restore it and let people shoot there.
I remember my former roommate and I went to, before she was my former roommate, when I first came to visit LA, we went to the motel for True Romance. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie or not, but there's that's
like Safari or something.
Safari Inn, yeah. I was like, oh my god, the Safari Inn, we gotta go. I got so excited. So we went there, and I don't even know if she's seen it or not, but she was happy to be there with me. And so we went up there, and what is it? I asked if I was like, I know this is gonna be, because the people that ran the Safari Inn knew people, you know, or whatever. I was like,
oh, well, yeah. I bet
right. They knew how famous it was and stuff. And I was like, is it fair at all, like, to go inside the room that like she was in? And he goes, they were very nice to me, and they said, we would love you to, but the problem is, like, they actually did not shoot inside the room. You know, they shot.
Oh, so it's on a set. Yeah.
It's on a set. So the room is an actual set. But you know, them coming out. So she was like, you can take a picture like of the places up there, you know, and everything, but you can't take a you know, right? Like, you could take a picture of outside of everything, but you can't go inside, because, you know, that's,
well, that makes sense. I spoke to somebody at MGM for The Hangover when I was there once, and I said, how much do you get bothered for like the hangover room? And she goes, well, there is no hangover room because it was a set, but people come in wanting the hangover room. They'll ask for it.
So she just says there is none.
Yeah, there is none at all. Like it's just that room is a set. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was the great thing about Karate Kid, because Karate Kid has some great locations, you know, the original Karate Kid and stuff, and Cobra Kai keeps bringing a lot of that back too. Like, not just the fan service of the people, but you get to see these places that, you know, you remember, you know, and it's kind of like that South Park thing. Remember, you know, the member berries.
Oh, yeah. I know of them.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that, where you're just like so excited because you're like, nostalgia. You know, so this show is a great show. Whether or not it lasts one more season or even longer,
it has to be 6
or longer. I can't wait, but I think it is, because the way that the creator's been acting on Twitter and everything, it doesn't sound like this is going to be the last season.
Well, no, because you think YouTube Red was seasons 1, 2, 3, and then Netflix did back to back 4 and 5. So now we just have to wait for them to greenlight season 6, and then I would love probably season 7 too, but I get it.
That's what annoyed me about season 4 is season 4, they shot season 4 and 5 back to back. So they already announced that there's going to be 4 and 5, you know? And so they did not ever announce this. So are they going to announce 6 and 7 back to back? You know, that would be cool. You know,
I mean, if they did up to 7, I'd be happy, because I did read from one of the creators who said, "Oh yeah, we're going to do 6 or 7," and then I thought, okay, so if they only do 6, I'm okay with that, because he said 6 or 7, and it's just like, okay, I'm happy. Just end it properly. Just please end it properly. I don't want the fucking Sopranos where they end it weird, and then they go, oh yeah, we're gonna make movies, and then their lead actor friggin' dies. You know,
yeah,
it's like, just end it properly and then make your trilogy. That's all you have to do. And as I'm sure the series doesn't cost much, you know, it probably goes up every year because people are, you know, the actors are probably getting paid more and everything. But it's can't be. It's not science fiction. It's not a period piece. I mean, it's today. It's present day. If they need a high school, they got 300 to choose from. You know,
yeah,
you know. So it's like, dude, just finish it properly. That's all I'm asking.
yeah.
You know. So
You know, I mean, also the last thing I'll share is I like the fight scene between the two what's his name, the two boys, the two young boys fighting, you know, that William that Johnny had made them fight each other to fight it out or whatever, and that
oh,
sort of
Manuel
bond
and yeah, and Johnny's
Miguel
kid.
and yeah, I like them both fighting each other, and then at the end, you know, like they do kind of bond and they do become better
Well,
friends.
that's very canon movie. Canon Pictures is like in a American Ninja. Is you have Michael Dudikoff, and then oh, fuck, what's his name? The black guy that was his friend. He died, unfortunately. But they fight each other. They kick each other's asses. And the black guy goes, well, now that we've kicked each other's asses, I'm so and so, and then they become friends in all the movies. And that's kind of
Sort
how
of
you.
like what Rocky, when Rocky beats Creed, you know, or
Oh yeah,
whatever, you know, like all of a sudden they're best friends, you know,
yeah,
but
they help each other out. Yeah. So you
but
have to do that. You have to kick each other's ass, and then become
it just
friends.
shows that you're you know, like, you know, if you're, especially if you're competitive against each other, and you know, you're doing that, you're like, it sort of is a bonding thing, you know. I hate to say it, like that sounds terrible, but like I would say to any kid that's being physically bullied, not bullied online like kids are being today. I'm saying if you're being bullied in person and everything by some kid, fucking fight. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be at school, but fight at some point. Because if you fight the person, you'll eventually become friends with the person, you know, because you
It's
actually
yeah,
stuck up for
it's
yourself.
possible. Yeah, yeah.
You know?
So, well, speaking of bullying, then we'll talk about this and then wrap it up. What about Daniel's son first being the bully to that little black kid, and then the roles being reversed, where the black kid is
I
now all
like
of a
that.
sudden.
I like, but you saw it like in season 4, like it became that arc where he became like, all of a sudden he became the bully because he joined Cobra Kai to, you know, and everything. But then, so the ending of the whole show, where we didn't even talk about that. God damn, there's so much to talk about. We talked about it, but the ending of the show where and we didn't even talk about the Chinese girl, Chinese lady who kind of came in.
Oh
And,
God, because this
you
is
know,
going to end up being 3 hours.
you've said talk until we're done.
That's true.
You did. This is all your fault.
True.
I would have been okay if we ended up an hour. You know, we wouldn't have had a lot to talk about, but we do now. So yeah, the Chinese lady was pretty tough and everything, and but I sort of didn't like it because it's sort of like there was no connection before introducing her. It was just like, okay, here's somebody, you know.
I
Like,
did look her up. I was trying to figure out, like, is she from something else, because they're giving her that big intro, and she isn't. Yeah, I guess she's like a brand new character.
yeah, so she's a brand new character. She's just some random chick. And I thought she might be a you know, somebody in Terry's past or something, but she wasn't. I don't think she was just the best of the best, you know. I'm
Yeah,
surprised
which is
wasn't in
fine,
here.
I guess. I mean that's okay. I mean that's
I'm
all right.
surprised Eric Roberts.
Well, and then there's the other girl, the younger Asian girl. I think she was Asian, right? That kind of took over for Tori.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so she
So
was kicking butt too. So we got
got
they
some.
got to stop bringing, like if they do a season 6, they have to stop bringing in, except for like Hillary Swank, they have to stop bringing in new characters.
Except Hillary Swank. That's the only one who's allowed to come.
That's it, because we don't need more. Look how many characters are on your on your picture there. And then I post, I had one for my wallpaper on Facebook that showed like 12 people, and the show originally had like 5. So
And you have to follow everybody. That's why they talked about it before. They would get rid of characters or whatever. Like the big black girl just kind of disappeared and everything. She like all of a sudden she wasn't in a whole season. And
yeah, then they brought her back briefly,
brought
and
her
then she
back for like
disappeared again.
one scene, and I thought it was like okay. Like it almost felt like the scene from with Jessica Andrews. Like it's just like okay, she's just here to just sort shit out, with the thing. But other than that, like I wish they brought her back, but I don't know if they if it was like I think literally it's what you're saying is like there's just too many characters, and after a while they have to get rid of the people and then bring back new people and then get rid of the people and then you know what I mean? Like it has to keep happening.
Yeah, and I heard some stuff with that actress, the larger black actress, who like when because she was saying on like YouTube that they fired her, and then like she was living in her car with her mom, and she was like only surviving by going to conventions and signing autographs as that character, and that there was some like bad stuff with her. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is real or not, but that sucks if it's
Somebody
true.
else said it? Somebody else said it or she said it?
It was on like a YouTube video, like somebody that was talking about her.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
That's why I'm saying if it's true, that really sucks. But
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, but I could be wrong because I haven't seen her since the show, so I have no idea if she's even.
I did read from one of the creators that just when he was asked like why is she not on the show, they just said we were done with her arc. Right. And I'm like, she had an arc? It's like, oh, okay. Thought she was just the Cobra, just a Cobra Kai person. All right, I guess so.
Well, no, I mean, she was the friend who, was Mary, or was it what's her name? Not Mary. Well, Mary Mauser's the real Sam's friend originally, and then when Sam started hanging out with the other two girls, they didn't like her because she was the fat girl, and that was, and I'm not saying that like whatever. I'm just saying that's like literally why they kind of treat her like she was the fat nerdy girl, and they were this stuck up chicks. Well, the blonde girl was the stuck up chick for a while, and then her arc became really weird, and now she's just a character I feel like they just keep putting in there because she's cute.
Oh, because she's dating the guy with
yeah, but you don't really, that wasn't even touched upon much on this episode, which really kind of pissed me off. You don't ever see them together, like I don't remember seeing them at all. I remember them talking about them being together and how he would text her or something, but did you ever once see them like hanging out? Not even at the water park.
I don't remember. I don't really remember. I know the one girl that was dating Hawk that was straight, then went gay, then went straight again. Then I think she went gay again, and then she went straight again. Because now I guess she's with Hawk
Moon.
or friends with Hawk. Yeah, Moon. Yeah, that was all kind of weird. She's all kind of hippie like, but I guess she's bisexual. I guess is what you would say.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I don't mind, but I think. I don't know. I just.
I mean, it is weird when you introduce that many characters, because if you look at something like, let's say, the Resident Evil series, with Mila, is characters would disappear from one movie to another and then end up in one movie and not another. Ali Lauder all of a sudden is in one film, and then she's not in 2 movies, and then she's back in another one. And then they bring in another character who's in 2 movies, but then they're not in one movie. Then they bring them back for another movie. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure how they how they do all that. So
Neither do I. I mean, it's
I mean,
it's
unless the main characters like Tori and Manuel and all that are set up with contracts to say, okay, we're doing 6 seasons. So you're going to have 6 seasons, while the people that are the co-stars that are below them, they're more seasoned players. So it will be, yes, you're going to be in season 3, but we're going to have the option of not bringing you back for season 4.
well, so Nicole Brown, sorry for that name.
Oh,
Not the nicest name, but that's the girl who plays Aisha. That's the bigger black girl.
okay.
She's only done Cobra Kai, and she was in like one episode of Raven's at Home, which I guess is Raven Simone Disney show or something, or whatever. That would be my guess. But she had only done Cobra Kai, so sadly that might be, I hope not. I hope she's not stuck in her car and only surviving off of conventions. You hear about this stuff because like some of my favorite child stars, they once they're done with their shows, they don't get booked on another show or something for a while or whatever, and they probably spend all the money and that they got from it, and then all of a sudden they don't have any more resources, because they don't have another show to back up on. So
Yeah. I mean, unless she is young and maybe she's going to college,
maybe
so we could maybe put like a positive hope on it that she's not living in her car and off of autographs, and maybe she decided to pull like a Jodie Foster and stop acting for a while and go to college.
Yeah, it's sad that she has a Nicole Brown name. Especially with her being black too, like, because Nicole Brown was not black, but yeah, I don't need to say anymore.
No,
I don't want to get in trouble.
We won't go down that hole.
Yeah, let's
So all right, so anything else? Are we
well, I mean, I was just gonna say at the end, like the end to end with the fighting scenes between the two Cobra Kai and Miyagi Do or Miyagi Fang or whatever they end up calling it later, which would be cool if they call it Miyagi Fang.
It should just be like an eagle with Miyagi's head with fangs.
Eagle, Miyagi Eagle? No.
Miyagi Eagle Fang.
Miyagi Fang.
Well, do you like that it was a tie? Or should have there been a definitive winner?
I saw it coming a mile away. Like, I knew, period, when they set everything up, like these two teams, like, it's not going to be like Cobra Kai wins and then, or it wasn't going to be like that. I mean, it could have gone where Miyagi Do won, and then that really pissed Silver off, because Silver had been planning this whole setup, even to the point where he paid the referee.
I kind of wish he didn't do that. I wish that he did legitimately win, and they're just pissed, and they're like, we can't let this happen. And Daniel's like, well, we have to. We said that we would give this up if he won, and it's like, no, he had to cheat when he didn't, because I thought the video that they showed where everybody quit Cobra Kai was kind of weak. It's that it should have been
like the end where he's like, all of a sudden they're like, where they see that video of him talking to Tori. Referee, or talking to Tori, yeah. So then obviously it wasn't the referee, but the talking to Tori and admitting that what he did, they were like, no, we don't like him. And I'm like thinking, aren't you guys supposed to be bad guys?
He should have been more like, I think, a Bond villain. And Tori's Bond or something, and then he gives his master plan, and it's very obvious that he cheated and obvious of what he wants to do. I just, maybe I need to go back and rewatch it, because I could barely hear it. but it didn't
The
seem
whole
like.
time, what I remember from it was that he said, yes, I did, I did do this, stuff. I did, which if he set up everything at Cobra Kai, right? He was the one who brought in all the technology.
Yeah,
So
he's the one
watch
who
everything.
Rocky Ford it.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
he have known that he'd be recording himself, like incriminating himself? And if
Good
he had
point. Yes.
A, wouldn't he have gotten rid of it already? And B, wouldn't he have, or B, would he have not admitted to that? Like, if she said, "Did you do all these things?" He goes, "I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything like that. Like, you just saw, you think you just saw somebody, do that stuff, blah, blah, blah. You didn't actually see that. You don't know what you're talking about." Like, he can't, right? Because who knows? She could have been wired,
Yeah, she could have set up a phone or something kind of like in a corner and like, well, let me try to get him to confess. So yeah, so for a guy who is such a criminal mastermind, he's not bugging Stingray's place, and he's confessing everything to a security camera that, I don't know, maybe he thinks that nobody can get access to. But dude, you're like 60, and kids that are like 17 know more about electronics than you do.
Yeah, but he's also like really rich, right? So with rich comes like the amount of like technology you're able to have that at your disposal. You would probably also know how to use everything. And you would know, like, the camera people would probably come to you and say, "All right, I'm setting this up. This is going into your hard drive. This is going to be available online. People are going to be able to access this."
Well,
right?
Unless he's so rich, he just hires people to do it. It doesn't think about
Right,
it. Because wasn't that footage from a different dojo? Wasn't that what Tori was saying? Is that was from the original dojo? So maybe he didn't think that was still available.
I don't know. All I know is that he should have known better, and he should have, but woulda, shoulda, coulda, or whatever. That was what the writers wanted, and it wasn't a terrible thing. It's just, it sort of didn't make any sense. Like, it just wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. So you just brought that up. Yeah.
I'm starting to become Paul in my old age, where Paul likes to take all of the different. Paul A. Presenza, who's my co-host. I'm not explaining it to you, but I'm explaining to people who watch your show, but doesn't know who the fuck I am, and is listening to almost 3 hours of this video.
Yes.
Thank you. You're awesome. I don't know how you are surviving, but apparently you're doing work, is what I hear, and good for you. But I hope you're listening.
Yes, I am told, at least for one filmmaker, that people listen to it while they're working. So it's more like a, like a podcast, not like a vidcast or whatever.
Well, thank you.
So, well, yes, thank you, everybody. I do appreciate you listening, because this is the first two filmmakers in a while.
Yeah. So that's the thing here, is that Paul used to do like he would break down things, and he would say that wouldn't happen or this wouldn't happen, and I'm like, it's a TV show or a movie, like, relax, and I'm starting to get to that where I'm getting all curmudgeoned and thinking, well, god damn it, why are they doing this stupid stuff when they should know better?
Because it still has to be based in some sort of reality, and that's
right.
It doesn't matter if it's Marvel or DC or
Star
whatever
Wars.
it is, Star Wars. You still have to believe what's there, and once like Spider-Man 1 and 2, the Sam Raimi ones, are believable. Once we get to Spider-Man 3 and the Sandman and the Green Goblin is flipping around and bouncing off buildings. Not
Sam Raimi's plan. And honestly, Sam Raimi will even tell you Spider-Man 3 is his least favorite.
It is the worst out of the three, because you're taking it out of that sort of reality, and It still has to be real to some point.
I think he wanted to do like one villain and one new villain and everything. And
well, he wanted to do Sandman.
Yeah, and then the studio wanted Venom, and they also wanted, I think, Lizard or whatever, so he ended up having like 3 characters who, like, like all of a sudden, I don't know. So it's more funny watching like No Way Home, where they're all like talking to each other and stuff, and I'm like,
that stuff is good. Yeah,
this is what Sam Raimi really would have, like this is, and then he went on.
Yeah, give Sam Raimi No Way Home instead of Doctor Strange 2, which ended up being WandaVision 2, and but
I guess because they had a contract with the original Spider-Man guy to do all 3, but yeah, I'm surprised by, like, that would have been perfect if he did a. They've been talking about Spider-Man 4, existing. So anyway, that has nothing to do with Cobra Kai. So once again, sorry, guys. That's me. I do this a lot more than John does, I think. So. And
he likes the Marvel stuff, and I don't. So.
Oh yeah. So I talk about it all the time, and he's just like, okay, whatever.
Some of the worst stuff I've ever watched. So. Well,
I have something to tell you when we're done.
Wave 4 is the worst stuff I've ever seen. But yeah. So okay. So anything else? Anything?
I think we touched on everything in this season that really, like, I mean, just the ending with what's his name?
The Rocky 4 stuff was funny.
Martin Cove coming out, and we talked about that, but like, just the fact that he's now out of prison or jail.
Well, but and he has to hide. I mean, he broke out, so the cops are going to be after him. So it's not like he could just like prance down the street. He has to.
Can't just start Cobra Kai again.
So something has to go on with that.
Like, who is going to take over Cobra Kai? Who knows? We'll find out if they.
Well, probably the Asian woman. The older Asian woman.
I don't know. Maybe because I guess they, kind of set her up. I think that's why they introduced her, honestly. Because now somebody needs to take over.
Well, and now the younger Asian girl will be taken under her wing. So I like the Rocky 4 references. I like
all of them
references. I liked
all of them left. So at the end, like, nobody stayed around. Everybody kind of like turned on.
I mean, our main cast and some of the other people, did, but there were still people standing in the background. I mean, who knows if all of them left?
I don't know. I
mean, if you think, Silver cheated, but they still did learn. He did have them practice and do everything else. So it's that was a lie about her winning, but they still trained. They got their money's worth.
Are going to change the title from Cobra Kai to Miyagi-Do? It's going to just start switching.
That's a whole other series.
6 to 10. Have a new series, but then but it's a spin-off series where now it's all about the Miyagi-Do. Like, there's no more Cobra Kai.
There's always Cobra Kai. It's like what Freddy, like,
Cobra Kai never dies.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like Freddy Krueger says in Final Nightmare. He goes, every street has an Elm Street.
Well, remember at the end, or whatever, during the series, like, the franchise is built, and they even took over dojos that and kicked senseis out of the dojo, which I thought,
that one,
wow, that was so fucked up. But so there are franchises, so there could still be Cobra Kai, and and the Asian woman's taking over, and I don't know. We'll
have to see. We'll just keep our fingers crossed. I mean, I thought that there was so much. I did bring up, but we were also talking like the Rocky 4 stuff and the Top Gun stuff. I thought was funny. So I think it knows what it's still doing without overdoing it. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens with season 6. And
somebody told me like this was like their most like boring season, and like they found it to be too unreal and slapsticky and silly and not serious enough, and I was like, that's a good observation. And this is a person that has nothing to do with the film industry, just a person who's a friend of mine from the from the city, that just was like, he just didn't really get Cobra Kai's 5. And I said, that's a really good observation. I kind of
I could
agree.
see that. Yeah, yeah.
I kind of agree. It's probably my least favorite season.
Because how can Daniel and his wife survive from a car dealership? I mean, they're trusting then the people that work there to make them money to survive in their lifestyle.
His cousin, who's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, who's like practically
it's just
brain
a cartoon
damaged,
character.
put it nicely.
It's just a cartoon character. I don't care about any of their stuff.
He's a typical Goomba. That's the thing, is that he's very Italian.
Shore.
Yeah. But they just, how are they surviving? Like, you see, at least on something like Friends, like Jennifer Aniston's, Rachel works at a coffee shop. Well, how does she afford an apartment in New York? Oh, because Monica says it's rent controlled and she got it from her aunt when she died. So they have to make up reasons for.
And that's a good reason. I mean,
but in this, it's like, who's running the car dealership? I guess just the regular employees.
Yeah.
I mean, I run my own storage facility, so I guess, but if they're never there and some guy can't even find somebody on the floor to help him buy a car, there should be like 10 people.
I feel like almost like the car dealership, like in season 6, would end. It would just be gone, because like that was just a device originally to say that like he's no longer the Karate Kid guy. Like he doesn't do karate anymore. He doesn't teach karate. He doesn't whatever in the beginning, right? Like he's a car dealer now, just like Mike Barnes owns a fucking. And by the way,
he still does the karate though. I mean,
right. But by
all the billboards and all that.
So he's lived in Reseda, for as long as they have, and he does not realize like that Mike Barnes works at a furniture shop. Like he's never gone into that furniture shop or around that, and ran into like I don't sort of buy it where he doesn't know what's going on with Mike,
So I'll go along a little bit with that and say that I would think if Johnny came back into his life like he did in the in the first season, that he'd probably be like, well, shit, is anybody else going to come back into my life? Chosen, probably not, because the guy lives in a completely different country. But yeah, he might look up Google Mike Barnes or something, Mike Barnes karate, to see what he's doing. So maybe, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see like, if there's ever any kind of explanations for things, but probably won't be.
Yeah, I would have to say that maybe because I was so excited for season 5 and it gets to the point where it's almost like my reason for living is Cobra Kai is coming out. Which if it got canceled, I would still be living. But it's one of those things that I've built it up so much that, maybe this is what I would consider to be the weakest season, because the Mike Barnes stuff and the guy asking, can somebody sell me a car? And there's this, like, we don't see any dealership. And it's like, maybe it's like they almost need to
like he's so focused on what's going on with his life, personally, his personal life. She leaves, so that means she's not going to the car dealership. Right. He's not going to the car. Who's fucking running the car dealership? His cousin?
And sometimes they are with the cousin.
Yeah.
So there has to be like, if he's the owner, then there's still got to be like a manager, an assistant manager, probably like a department manager. But
in the first season, like, people come up and say, oh, do you want to buy a car or whatever? And then there was that one girl, the lady, remember where Johnny comes up because he's got his cars on the lot, and he doesn't want his car there. He doesn't want his car fixed at the Russos. So he goes and talks to the secretary or whatever, the person who's a desk person, and is like, hey, can I not do this here? I want to, blah, 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 blah. And then, so there are people. We just see less and less of them around in this series, because I think this becomes like The car dealership's just a background of what, of something.
Well, yeah, and remember there was the one episode where the one guy, the other car dealership guy, was going to buy him out, and Daniel and his wife had to spend the entire day selling cars, and they kept like high-fiving each other as they were buying to save the company.
Now they don't even care about the company, like literally don't.
Yeah, it's
they're
just
not even going out there to sell somebody a car. So like it's getting to the point where they're focusing way too much, even in the script, on this other shit, when the wife should have said, you need to focus on work. We're losing money. This is what's making us money, not this stupid rivalry you have between. That would have made more sense than, oh, I hate this rivalry. I'm going to go to, go back to hometown and meet,
Iowa or whatever it was, Ohio or
because like after that made no sense. You've been trying to get him to do this work on this, thing, and now you're just upset that this rivalry is ruining, I don't know, whatever,
Well, and that's the whole thing with the dealership, is that it is called like LaRusso's, and that's the billboards are him doing the karate kick, and he's selling the bonsai, and people would come in going,
even knows he does that stuff. He sees the commercials and stuff. And
well, yeah, okay, so so he would probably see the commercials, and just like everybody else has. But that's the gimmick of the car dealership, is people would come in. This is why I'm saying it's an alternate universe, is people would come in because for some reason they give a shit about karate, and they come in to meet Daniel.
But he's also the best dealer in town, apparently. He's the best car guy in town. That's what he chops all the prices. He does.
But that's his gimmick,
Right, but he told Johnny in the beginning, like, he's the best, like, you're not going to find a better deal than what I'm giving you, right, and stuff, and everything. I think he even agrees to do it for free, because he felt bad for Johnny, or whatever,
right?
Because at that point he was trying to be the good guy,
Yeah, well, the wife was the one who convinced him to do a lot of stuff,
Yeah, that's after they have their like feud, when Johnny starts Cobra Kai. Then all of a sudden the wife has to say, like, look, this this is stupid. You guys are growing.
Well, yeah, because also remember, the daughter is one of the ones who hit his car. She was in the car that hit his car, and they find out about that later. But so yeah, they almost need to bring the show back to season 1 and 2 and stuff, and make it smaller in a way.
Once again, I think I mentioned it earlier, this is a filler season. Season 6 and 7 will be back to back, and hopefully be like 6 will be really, it will be get you back into it, get you back to the swing of things. 7 will be the one that just like is it.
I don't think they're going to go to 7. I think they'll do 6. They'll go to the Grand World Tournament. They'll fight. Somebody will win or not win, and they'll end it, and that's it. And so I think it's only going to be
you say that
bigger.
You say that, and I'll say this, and we'll see who's right. Okay, so this is my prediction.
Okay,
they will do 6 and 7. They'll do them back to back, just like they did this past time. What they did this year that they didn't do before was they had 4 and 5, which were both Netflix, right? They had them shoot back to back, and then they released, was it in January of this year? They released the like early January. I think it was literally New Year's Day. They released the first. They released season 4, and season 5 they released in September. Same year too, which does not generally happen, right? So I think that's what they're going to do. Yeah, it's the same year.
I thought we missed a year because of COVID.
No, we missed a year because of COVID. That's why they were able to put these together. I think, yeah, 4 and 5 were in were back to back. I'm pretty damn sure of it.
I am.
December 31st. So it's New Year's Eve, by the way. Okay, so technically 2021.
Let's see dates. Okay, here we go. Yeah, because season, I'm glad that they're all 10 episodes too. So yeah, season 1, 2018, season 2, 2019. Yeah, you're right. Season 3 and 4, 21, and then season 5, 22.
So I got it a little wrong, but I thought it was January 1st, but I guess it was December 31st. It was supposed to be January 1st, and then they moved it up to like to New Year's Eve, So it was supposed to be January, and then they moved it. Remember they did the karate, thing and said we're changing the date. You'll see season 4 in December 31st or whatever. That was the big deal. So here's my guess is that next year we will get season 6, and it will be because they probably already started working on it, or probably started already filming and they just haven't talked about it. Because like they're not going to mention, oh, we're already filming season whatever, right? They don't talk about that. So we've already started filming it. It's going to be out in early 2023. And then the final chapter, season 7, will be out at the end of 2023. Then Sony gets their 2024 movie. So you will get double the Cobra Kai. Then you'll get the movie, the trilogy.
I'm hoping for what you're saying, but I'm still going to stick with what I said.
Okay. So, I said, let's find out who's right.
There's no reason not to, because looking at, Rotten Tomatoes, season 1, 100%, season 2, 90%, season 3, 90%, season 4, 95%, season 5, 100%. And then Metacritic, season 1, 72, season 2, 66, season 3, 72, season 4, 70, season 5, 80. It's only gone up.
Yeah.
So why would you not do a season 6 at least?
Well, and also the creator John Hurwitz has said thank you so much. Holy crap. They said, he said thank you so much for making this the number 1 movie or number 1 show in on Netflix, for like a certain number of time, weeks straight. So this has been the number 1 show. Like there's no reason why Netflix would go, it's number 1 show. It's doing really well on Rotten Tomatoes. It's doing really well critically wise. Let's kill it.
I sure hope not. Or who knows, maybe 6 to 7 can be animated so it could follow the animated adventures of the Karate Kid. And that way they could bring back Mr. Miyagi. Mr.
Miyagi could be a anime character. I don't know.
It is a cartoon. Did you ever see it?
I remember. I think I might have like a couple episodes.
I think there's like 13 episodes. So I think some of them are on YouTube.
You bought it from like Dollar Tree or something, right? Am I correct?
No. I would love to get the all the episodes if they would release them.
I might have bought some. I don't know. I would love to check that out too, because I don't think
they're pretty bad. I've seen like 2, and they're pretty bad. But it's they go around the world type of thing, and fight crime.
Was it by Miyagi? Like, did at least Pat Morita do his own voice? I wonder.
That I'm not sure.
That would be funny. This up. The Karate Kid TV series. Miyagi, Pat Morita.
Is it?
It says Pat Morita. Miyagi NBC live action introduction.
Yeah, voices of 13 episodes.
So there's another guy that voiced Miyagi, but he did like the live action NBC like setup, and stuff. He like he probably introduced every episode as Mr. Miyagi, and then they, kind of how Super Mario Brothers, I don't know if you ever watched that or not, but there's a Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and it was like live action Mario Brothers doing skits before introducing the cartoons every day, so every week.
Yeah. It says here that he reprises his role as Mr. Miyagi before opening through a narration which explains the episode's pilot from the character or plot, from the character's point of view.
Nice.
So it looks like, so he was the opening narration on every episode except for number 8.
Damn 8.
Yeah, stupid 8.
I wonder if that's the last episode. He's just like, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah, shot him out of order, and 8 was the last one. Maybe he died or something. I don't know. But
well, if he had done it except for 8, there was 13 episodes. So.
Yeah,
maybe you're right. Maybe he did. Wait, no, he didn't die till like, this is 89. He didn't die till like 2005. So
maybe he got sick or something and he just couldn't do it. So
did you know Mr. Miyagi, Pat Morita was in a Andy Sedaris movie?
No.
But I have it and I want to watch it. I've never seen it, and like someday I'll watch it.
He also made a movie with Jay Leno called Collision Course, and I never watched it.
He was also in Honeymoon in Vegas.
Oh, okay, that's better at least. That's better.
Well, that's more fun. Like that's Nick Cage fun.
Yeah. So,
all right, we're done.
We got to finish this. So we're done. We're done. Thanks everybody. If you made it this far, thank you so much.
If you've skipped ahead and listened, whatever, that's cool too.
Yeah. Just having the volume play. That's how I watch a lot of these things myself when I'm at work. I just let it play like it's on the radio or something.
When I walk my dogs,
Yeah. You just got the headphone in or whatever. So, all right, everybody. So thank you very much, and thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lot more to talk about than what I thought. And
still more, but we gotta end this shit. Otherwise, we'll talk.
It can't go on longer than this. I was expecting an hour, maybe 2 hours at most, like we normally do.
Because like we will talk for like 3 hours just normally, and that was before we did the podcast. Yeah. So I think I was expecting at least 2 hours, if not more.
I was thinking 2, and I was going to stop it at 2, but it just went on. So, all right. So bye everybody. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening or watching, whatever you're doing. And
whatever you're doing. And
you're
on the shitter, if you're in the bath, whatever.
In the bath. Yeah. Just think about us in the shower.
I do that sometimes too. So
okay. Right on. So, all right, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Take it easy. Be safe and kind, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.